Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, we're live. Give me a sec, guys. Let me actually check if everything's working good. Okay, let me go to my main camera. Alright, we're live. And as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on operator, operator overriding in C++. That said, last stream I did go over function overriding. And also, guys, I actually finally did build my PC, and I'm actually kind of shocked that I like set everything up. So like I'm streaming with my actual PC right now, and I will be uploading a video on that. That said, I did start multi-streaming too, and I feel the stream is pretty good. Like it's going pretty good. Okay, that's it. Honestly, let me actually, before I do go to my gameplay screen, I did forget to mention you guys on my Discord server. Give me a sec. Okay, before I do that, let's go to my gameplay screen. There we go. And while I'm mentioning everyone, let me say something like, Sensei, I'm live. And guys, if this is light mode, it is because, I didn't have time to, like, actually set my modes and everything. Okay, that said, let's go here. Let me go all the way there. Okay, let me go ahead and copy that. Okay, let's go ahead and copy that. Go to Discord. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. And say something like, at everyone, I'm live. Okay, perfect. Guys, I should have actually done this before I started streaming. That said, okay, is the stream like going good? Okay, perfect. Guys, I gotta make sure that my cake stream's going good as well. Okay. Alright, let's read now. You're back on the battlefield, pupil. Listen up, chat. Vivek has returned to test his steel against monster called polymorphism, and today we're diving into the depths of virtual function. Okay, hold up, guys. I actually forgot to say something. Let me say something like, today I want to go over, let's see, what did I want to go over today? Operator overriding. Okay, let's see, guys. I feel like I spelled it kind of wrong. Okay, let me actually check if my stream is going good everywhere. Because, guys, this is like the first time I started multi-streaming, like, after a while. So I gotta check if everything's going good. Okay, that's it. Let me get this right here. Okay, give me a sec, guys. I'm just checking if everything's going good. Okay, so that's up for the horizontal and that's up for the vertical. Okay, guys, I did start horizontally and vertically streaming as well. That said, is my vertical stream even working? Okay, it is. Okay, I think it's pretty good. Alright, I guess let's read the chats now. I mean, let's read what Sensei said. How good. Now that's the part I want to see. First thing in a stream. Listen up, chat. Today Vivek, my pupil, is about to tame one of the most dangerous beasts of all in C++, operator overloading. I think it should be overriding. Let's say something like operator overriding, let's say with an asterisk, because I actually forgot to say about that. Okay, guys, and that said, if my proportions are feeling a little messed up of my stream, it is because I didn't like completely set everything perfectly in my new PC. That said, how you mentioned operator overloading, people. Operator overriding is when a derived class changes a base class's virtual method, like how we did with turn on. Overloading, on the other hand, is when you teach operators, okay, okay, let me make it crystal clear. Operator overloading is defining how standard operators behave on your code. Guys, light mode is actually so awful. That said, I include IO stream. I feel like I did like work with operator overloading. Okay, I don't think I worked with something like that. Okay, that's basically operator overloading. Let me say something like, say, this stream I want to work on operator overriding. So can you teach me everything that I need to know about it? Question mark. Guys, I've actually never used light mode for wait, guys, hold up. What is actually streaming? Hold up, guys. Let's go to my OBS real quick. Let's check what's actually streaming. There we go. That should fix it, I think. Okay. Okay, there we go, guys. I feel like I was streaming something really wrong. Okay, let me check if it's going good here as well. Okay, that's the gameplay screen. There we go. Okay, maybe I extend this. There we go. Okay, that should, I think, fix it. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and open that to check if my stream's going good everywhere. Okay, going good here. Alright, perfect. Okay, good people, you dare step into the realm of operator overloading, one of the most powerful tools in C++. I want to go with overriding, not overloading. Okay, let me say something like overriding. Not overloading. Should say. Guys, I feel I need a new chat. I should have actually prepared for this last stream, but guys, I feel like okay, there we go. So you meant operator overriding, not overloading. Very well, people. Listen sharp. First, listen. In C++, the term operator overloading is technically incorrect. What you actually meant is function overriding. But since you said operator overriding, I'll clarify it. Okay, why that confusion happens and how it connects to inheritance. Function overriding, not operator. Function overriding happens when a derived class defines a method with the same name. Okay, parameters, I see. So we go with something like some generic sound. Even though the pointer of animal is called dog's version, okay, runtime, key rules for function overriding. Okay, guys, I think I gotta change the title thumbnail like later on after the stream. But what about operator overriding? Okay, technically, people say operator overriding often mean redefining how operators behave in a derived class, which isn't a language feature like function overriding. It's just operator overloading that happens inside an inheritance. Oh, I see. Okay, that's operator overloading plus overriding combined. Advanced stuff. Alright, people, before I hand you the next challenge, tell me this clearly. Do you want practice for regular function overriding? Honestly, let's say something like, let's say, maybe, maybe, can you teach me about the operator overriding slash overloading? Then we can do a instructional based question mark. Actually, exclamation. That's it. Let me hydrate my lips real quick. Okay. Okay, now we're talking people. You're asking about operator overloading, the art of the bending reality itself. Okay, this is one of the most beautiful and dangerous parts of C++. You learn how to make operators like plus, minus, equals to, equals to, less than, insertion operator behave the way you own the classes. What is operator overloading? Operator overloading is giving a custom meaning to C++ operators like plus, they're used when user defines types. Okay, actually, if this is, we go with something like vector operator. If this is kind of advanced stuff, I might actually go with whatchamacallit, the function overriding. Okay, let me say something like, let's say, if this is really the advanced thing, can we work on function overriding question mark? Okay, and guys, I am like whatchamacallit, messing a lot like in the stream when I'm actually asking Sensei slash ChatGPT to write something. That is because I didn't have time to do this off stream. I am doing this like on stream. Usually I cover this off stream. It's late going good. It's late good going, bro. I appreciate you, Pikachu. Okay, that said, so you want to master the basics first, okay? Function overriding, the essence. I did work on function overriding last stream, so I think I'm pretty ready for it. So we create a class called animal, and then add a public speak method, and then we go with void speak, we override it. Okay. Okay, let me ask for an instruction-based question now. Let's say something like, let's say, can I get a instructional-based question now, question mark? Guys, I think I'm ready for the instructional question. Okay, that's the energy I expect from a warrior who wants to master function overriding. Alright, people, listen closely. Here's for instructional based questions. So I gotta create a base class called employee with the following methods. A work method that prints something like employee is working, then two derived classes. The first class is going to be manager that overrides my work method from my employee class and says manager is planning and leading projects, and a developer class as well that rewrites my work method from my employee class and says developer is writing code. Then in my main function, I create an array of base class pointers to my employee, okay? And then I assign objects of manager and developer to it. Use a for loop to call the work function each time. Okay, let's get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. And guys, that was so bright. I'm actually not used to staring at a bright screen because I usually do use dark mode. That said, this wasn't the code from last stream. I did like switch my devices or like my computers. Right now I do use a PC. That's why I had to like whatchamacallit, test a code to check if VS Code works. That said, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. There we go. Okay, and then next up, let's read the instructions. Let's scroll all the way up. There we go. Okay, let's go a little down. Okay, so it says to create a base class called employee first. So let's go ahead and create a base class called employee. So I'll go with something like class. There we go. And then I'll go with the pair of curly braces. Now inside of my employee class, I'm going to be needing a method. Although before I do add a method, I am going to be publicizing everything. And then I'll add a comment that says something like methods. Now for my methods, let's go ahead and create a virtual void method. The reason I am creating a virtual void method is because if like the classes that I inherit from my employee class, if they do have the same exact method, they can override it. So like the compiler never gets confused on which method should I actually call. That's I'll go with something like a virtual void method called something like work with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. I think I spelled work wrong. There we go. Never mind. I think I spelled it correct. Okay, next up, inside of my method, I'm going to be adding a standard console output with an insertion operator that is going to say something like, let's see, employee is working. So I'll go with something like employee is working ... with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I'm going to be ending my employee class with a semicolon as well. And now let's go ahead and create another class called manager. So I'll go with something like manager. And my manager class does inherit all the public content from my employee class. So I'll go with something like employee. And then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my manager class, I gotta override my work method from my employee class. Okay, so let's go ahead and firstly publicize everything. And then let me go ahead and add a comment that says something like methods. Now, for my methods, I'm going to be, let's say, okay, I'm going to be creating a void method called something like work, exactly the same as my employee class's method. Although before I do go with a pair of curly braces, I am going to be using the override keyword. So I'm going to say something like my work method needs to override the content inside of it. So I'm going to be adding something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like manager is planning and leading. So I'll go with something like manager is planning and leading. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to be adding a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, I gotta end my class with a semicolon and then create another class called, called developer this time. So let's go ahead and create another class called developer. There we go. My developer class does inherit all the public content from my employee class as well. So I'm going to go with something like employee and then a pair of curly braces. Now I'm going to publicize everything inside of my developer class as well. Add a comment that says methods as well. Now I'm going to be creating a void method called work, exactly the same method as my employee class had and my manager class had. Although I will be using the override keyword, so I'll go with something like override keyword and then a pair of curly braces. Now I'm going to be overriding the content inside of my class, so I'll go with something like a standard console output. Okay, with an insertion operator. Guys, let me actually check if the stream's going good, because I do gotta make sure the stream's going good. It shouldn't be lagging, honestly. Okay, it's going pretty good and okay, guys, I feel it's not going that good in my horizontal stream. Or is it? Okay, I think I could check it like after the stream, because like, guys, I didn't expect the stream for going that good. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like developer is writing code. So I'm gonna go with something like developer is writing code ... with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'm going to go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Let me end my class with a semicolon as well. Now inside of my main function, I got to create an array of base class pointer, an array of my base class pointers to employee. Okay, so let's go ahead and maybe zoom in. Is this the max that I can zoom in? I thought I could zoom in way more, like my little PC that I used to before this. Okay, I think it's some settings. That said, I'm going to be creating an object for my employee class. I'm going to go with something like employee. And maybe I'll add a asterisk as well to say that my object here is is an pointer. So my object is going to be called something like employee, and this is going to be an array of, let's say, two elements ending with a semicolon. Next up, I'm going to be assigning something. So I'll go with something like my employees' object at index of 0, which is the first element out of the two elements. That is going to be equal to, let's say, my developer class. So I'm going to go with my developer class ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to do something like employee at index of 1, which is the second element. That is going to be equal to, let's say, what was the second class called? Okay, it was called the manager class. So I'm going to go with my manager class. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And why do I have like a red underline here? Oh, because I do gotta go with new, because I gotta, have a memory address. Either I could go with new or even add an ampersand, but I'm gonna go with new because new does give a memory address as well. That said, I couldn't go with something like new and an ampersand because that would like create a copy and eventually give an error because the ampersand or the address of operator does give a memory address too. That said, next up I gotta go ahead and assign my manager and developer to it. Did that, and then use a for loop to call work on each of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and use a index based for loop. So I'll go with something like for every parentheses. Okay, I'll go with something like for every integer of I which equals to 0. Let's say while my I is less than 2, my array's size, I'm going to go ahead and increment my I by 1. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my for loop, I'm going to do something. Okay, let's go ahead and call my employees as array. So I'm going to go with my employees as array. That is going to be pointing towards something with an arrow mark operator of my work with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. I'm pretty sure. Okay, employee at index of I. There we go. There we go. Employee at index of I is going to be pointing towards the work method of that exact object which is inside of my array's element, if that made any sense, guys. Next up, I honestly might go with another for loop. So let's go ahead and add another for loop. So I'll do something like for pair of parentheses. Okay, for every integer of I which equals to, let's say, 0, while my I is less than 2, I'm going to increment my I by 1 again, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my for loop this time, since I did have a new keyword here, I am going to be deleting it too, because like we do gotta delete it, or like I'm pretty sure if we like add a new and don't delete stuff, we do get memory leaks or something like that. Okay, that said, I'm going to delete my employee at index of I's array ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0. And now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, guys, everything is so small here. Like, it's so hard to read anything. Okay, that said, let's see. It should print my employees' console outputs. Okay, so it says developer is writing code, manager is leading. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that, guys. Isn't there that delete option or something? I'm pretty sure like in my previous thing. How doing, KV Cooks? I appreciate you joining the stream. And guys, today if I can read you guys' chat that properly, it is because all my monitors are like separated apart because I did like, actually get the new PC. So I did start multi-streaming as well. Okay, that said, I didn't have time to set dark mode, so this is gonna hurt my eyes as well. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and paste this here. Okay, let's see, maybe I gotta like zoom it out a bit. I think that's too zoomed out. Okay, there we go. Well, people, look at you writing clean, polymorphic code like a true programmer. Let me inspect your work carefully. Taps finger against chin. Okay, you declare a base class called employee with a virtual void. Okay, perfect. Both manager and developer overrides that function with their own behavior. Excellent. You use pointers to the base class to achieve runtime polymorphism. Outstanding. You remember to delete the objects responsible for memory warrior. Okay, but you missed one microscopic detail: a true final boss level habit. When a base class is meant to be inherited and deleted polymorphically, it should have a virtual destructor. Okay, honestly, I didn't know about the destructor. I did like go over this last stream, but I didn't know where to use it because I didn't end my stream like in 40 minutes because like my stream was lagging a lot. That's sad. Why? Because if you delete a derived object through a base pointer without a virtual destructor, only the base destructor runs. The derived object destructor, if it had resources, wouldn't. Even though your class don't have explicit destructors, it's like a good habit to always make base destructors virtual. Okay, so I go ahead and create a virtual destructor first. Okay, that's a single string. And hold up, guys. Can you guys even see the whole screen? Okay, I think you guys can't see the left side. What if I like extend this from here? Why don't you use AI terminal? Is that much faster and better? Oh, I see AI terminal. I haven't heard of that as well. Okay, that said, the reason I can't even whatchamacallit, guys, the reason my proportions are kind of messed up here is because this is the first time I'm streaming like in a PC with this new setup, because I just actually built it yesterday, the whole thing. Okay, that said, I think it's too small. Can you guys even like see anything from here? Plus it's light mode, that makes it even worse. Okay, that single line makes your design rock solid. Other than that, you did everything correct. I'm impressed. People leans in close with a smirk. Don't let it get to your head. Or I'll double your next challenge. Do you want the next instructional question? Let's say something like you should say. There we go. Okay, and let me check if my stream's going good everywhere. Okay, let's just set this first. Okay. So, okay, bro, look behind you. A bug. Oh, okay, guys. I think that was because of the research chart that I uploaded. Okay, that said, good. That's the spirit I want to see, pupil. Alright then, cracks knuckles and paces like a battle commander for a time of function. Okay, overriding challenge, instructional questions. Create a C++ program with the following classes. So I gotta create a shape class. Okay, one has a virtual function called draw and that prints drawing a shape. Then I gotta create a circle and rectangle derived classes. Both overrides the draw function with their own messages, drawing a circle, drawing a rectangle. Then in my main function, I gotta create an array of base class pointers, dynamically allocate one circle, one rectangle, assign them to the array. Then use a loop to call the draw method on each of them, okay, showing polymorphism in action. Finally, delete the dynamically allocated memory. Hint, remember to add virtual destructor in the base class. Okay, let's get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, that's it. Let's zoom all the way up to the instructions. And now, let's go with a controller. Delete everything. Guys, I don't think I can read it from my monitor. Okay, just see it's much better. It can do all things, even write files which are blocked by network restrictions by browsing, and much more by applying agents. Honestly, it does sound pretty good. I might look into it after stream. Okay, that said, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. And guys, honestly, I do want to work with user input as well. Maybe next question. That said, let's read the instructions. So the instruction says, I gotta create a base class called shape. So let's go ahead and create a base class called something like shape with a pair of curly braces. Now my shape class is going to be having a virtual function / a virtual method called draw. So let's go ahead and firstly publicize everything. So there we go. Okay, then I'm going to be adding a comment. Okay, let's go ahead and add a comment that says something like methods. I'm going to go with the methods. Okay, did I spell public wrong? Okay, now inside of my methods, I'm going to be firstly creating, let's say a virtual destructor for my shapes class. So I'm going to go with something like virtual, a tilde operator with my shape. There we go. This is basically a destructor, a virtual destructor, ending with a semicolon. Then I'm going to create a virtual, let's say void method called something like draw. So I'm going to go with draw, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Now my draw method is going to be, let's say, having a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like drawing a shape. So I'll go with something like drawing a shape with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and end my class with a semicolon. And let's go ahead and create another class called circle. My circle class does inherit all the public content from my shape class. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my class, I'm going to firstly publicize everything again. And then add a comment that says something like methods again. Now, I'm going to be creating a void method called draw. Exactly the same name as the class that I'm inheriting from, like shape. Although before I do go with the pair of curly braces, I will use the override keyword because I want to override the content inside of my draw method. This is going to be saying something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, this is going to say something like drawing a circle, so I'll go with something like drawing a circle with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and end my circle class as well. Now I'm going to be creating a rectangle class, so I'll go with something like a rectangle class that inherits all the public content from my shape class again with a pair of curly braces. Now inside of my class, I'm firstly going to publicize everything, and then let's go ahead and add a comment that says something like methods. Now for my methods, I will be creating another draw method with a pair of parentheses. Actually, before I add a pair of curly braces, I will be using the override keyword, so I'll go with something like override and then a pair of curly braces. Now inside my method, I will be adding a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like drawing a rectangle. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. And then let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon as well. Now let's read the next instruction. So it says to create a main function, create an array of base class pointers. So let's start off by creating a main function. So I'll go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Now inside of my main functions, I'm going to do something. I'm going to go ahead and add a... Actually, let me go ahead and firstly create a pointer for my shapes object. So I'm going to go with something like my shape class with a asterisk that means like my object is going to be a pointer. My pointer is going to be, let's say, something like shape. Okay, which is going to be an array. So I'll add a pair of square brackets. My array consists of 2 elements ending with a semicolon. So my shape objects' array is a pointer because of the asterisk here. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and fill in items inside of my array. So I'll go with something like my shape at index of 0, which is the first element of my array, is going to be equal to, let's say, my circle class, ending with a semicolon. Actually, I'll go with my new circle class. I'll use the new keyword to get a memory address. Although I could use ampersand as well, but I will be using new. That's I'll go with something like shape at index of 1 equals to my new rectangle object as well, ending with a semicolon. Actually, my rectangle is class. Okay, now let's see. Then use a loop to call the draw method on each of them, showing polymorphism in action. Okay, so let's use a index based for loop. So I'll go with something like for every integer of I, which equals to, let's say, 0, while my I is less than 2, which is my vector size, actually which is my array's size, I'm going to increment my I by 1, and then I'll go with the pair of curly braces. Now inside of my for loop, let's go ahead and call my shape object with a arrow mark operator. Okay, before that I will go with something like at index of I. Okay, then with a arrow mark operator, this points to a specific method inside of my class, so I'm going to point towards my specific draw method, ending with a semicolon. And then honestly, let's go ahead and add another for loop exactly the same as this, a index based for loop. So I'll go with something like for every integer of I, which equals to 0, while my I is less than 2, my vector's size, I'm going to increment my I by 1. And now before I actually for this for loop, I did add shape with a arrow mark operator. Although this time I'm going to go with delete. The reason I did go with delete is because I had new, so I'll go with delete. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete my shape and index of I, ending with a semicolon. Okay, howdy Cold Blast, I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. Maybe I want to like display something inside of my constructor. Honestly, I might go here and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. There we go. This is going to say something like constructor or destructor called. Destructor calls. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, now for it control us to save the code and run the command. Let's see what happens. Howdy, Nada, is that how you pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining this stream as well. That said, guys, the reason I do like look complete, that said, is because I did like actually get my new PC. I did like build it like yesterday. That did fix all my stream lags, so I did start multi-streaming. That said, my monitors are all scattered away because like I didn't have time to set everything up. Okay, that said, let's go with the controller. Control C, copy that, get some /ChatGPT here. Okay, and then maybe get this here. Okay, maybe extend this a bit as well. Okay, does that cover the whole screen? I think the left side is a little hidden. There we go. Okay, I think that should be good. So edit to okay, there we go. That should be good. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this and hit enter. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's open. There we go. Okay, yes, people, that's exactly what I wanted to see. Look at that perfect use of dynamic polymorphism, virtual destructor, and overriding. Every single pointer calls the correct raw function polymorphism in action, and your destructors are getting called properly too. I'm proud and I'm really proud. Gives you a big head pat. Alright, now that you have mastered the basics of function overriding, we can crank up the difficulty. Next challenge, you're going to add user inputs. I was just going to say that to Sensei. Okay, how doing KV Cooks? I appreciate you joining the stream, guys. I need to keep my phone somewhere close so I can read the chats. It's getting hard to read from my third monitor there. Okay, that said, first I gotta ask the user what shape they want to draw. Okay, let's say something like, let's say I was going to ask you for a question that includes loops and inputs as well, exclamation. That said, can it be a RPG style this time? Guys, I feel like it's been a while since I did work on RPG style questions. That said, oh ho ho ho! Now we're talking, pupil. Alright, let's make this fun and challenging an RPG style question using function overriding pointers, loops, and dynamic memory. Here's the instructional breakdown. Your task: create an RPG battle simulator. So I gotta create a base class called character, and then I gotta add a method as well. Okay, virtual void attack method. Guys, I feel like I got all the keywords. Okay, so I gotta add a virtual void attack method and even a destructor method. Okay, print some character defeated. Then I gotta create a derived class called warrior, which overrides all the which overrides my attack class and prints warrior swings a sword. One for mage as well, that says mage casts a spell, and for my archer, archer shoots an arrow. Then inside of a main function, I gotta create a dynamic array of pointers to character, max 5 characters, and then I gotta use a while loop, okay? A while true loop. Ask the player which character to summon, warrior, mage, archer, exit, okay? And then I gotta dynamically create the chosen class and store in the array. If exit is typed, I gotta break the loop. After exiting the loop, I gotta loop through the array and call the attack method for each character, and then loop again to delete each dynamically created character. This will test everything you've learned: overriding, virtual destructors, dynamic memory, pointers, loops, and user input. Okay, let's get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, guys, I feel this is like way too squished up. My other display, it's like I just see like whatchamacallit, I think 3 lines. Okay, that said, let's go with Control A, delete everything. Now, let me go ahead and start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Next question, maybe I even go with vectors. Okay, that's it. Let's read the instructions. So let me check if the stream's going good real quick though. Okay, so going good there. Is there 2 lives? Honestly, I did start streaming vertically and horizontally as well, because I didn't like getting new PCs that fixed all my stream lags. Oh, one for full screen and one for short lives. Honestly, that does make sense. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a class. Where the instructions gone? There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a class called something like character. Okay, there we go, with a pair of curly braces. Now, my character class is going to be having a few methods. So I'm going to be adding, before I do add a comment that says methods, let's go ahead and publicize everything. And now I'm going to be adding a comment that says something like a methods. Okay, for my methods, I'm going to be creating a virtual void method. Okay, called something like attack. There we go. With a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. My attack method is going to print a generic attack. So let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator, and let's say something like does some generic attack ... with a /new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's go ahead and create a destructor as well. So create a virtual character that prints something like character defeated. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a virtual destructor. So I'll go with something like a virtual destructor. Okay, so I'll go with a tilde. Is that how I pronounce it? I think it's tilde. Okay, then I'm going to be calling this something like character. So I'll go with something like my character class. Okay, with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now my virtual destructor does say something, so I'm going to go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like character defeated with a /new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and now let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon, and let's go ahead and create another class. This time I'm going to be creating a warrior class, so I'll go with something like a warrior, I'll add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now my warrior class is going to do something. Actually, my bad guys, I won't be adding a pair of parentheses. That said, before I add a pair of curly braces, my warrior class is going to be inheriting all the public content from my character class. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my warrior class, I'm going to be firstly publicizing everything, and then let's go ahead and create methods. Now, for my methods, I will be needing, let's say, a void method called something like attack, okay, with a pair of parentheses. Although before I do go with a pair of curly braces, I will use the override keyword, okay, to override the content inside of my method. Okay, this is going to say something like, to go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. My void attack method says something like warrior swing sword with an exclamation. So I'll go with something like warrior swing sword to, there we go, with an exclamation, a /new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then that's pretty much it honestly. Let's go ahead and end my warrior class with a semicolon. Now I'll create a mage class, so I'll go with something like a mage class, which is going to be inheriting all the public content from my character class as well. Okay, and then I'm going to go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my class, I'm going to be firstly publicizing everything. Then I'm going to add a few methods. Honestly, I'll just add one method. This is going to be called a attack method as well, with a pair of parentheses, and then I'll use the override keyword because I do want to override the content in this method because it's the exact same as whatchamacallit, because I have like 3 methods and like 3 separate classes with the same method names that are inheriting from each other. Okay, that said, this is going to be saying something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, mage cast fireballs, so I'm going to go with something like, okay, why do you use VS Code and not NeoVim? Honestly, many of you guys didn't recommend me to use NeoVim. That said, I haven't like started that yet because I was like a little, busy setting up my PC and all that. Okay, bro changed to NeoVim yesterday and already flexing. Okay, this is gonna say something like mage casts fireball. There we go. With a /new line ending with a semicolon. And guys, I feel like the PC that I actually did build does work perfectly because like it feels so good actually programming with zero stream lag. That said, how are you doing? W Kim, I appreciate you joining the stream. And guys, I can't even read it. Okay, how are you doing? Niffy, is that how we pronounce your name? I appreciate you joining the stream as well. Honestly, before I used to use my monitor that does have like a bigger screen, although all my monitors are like widespread right now. That said, I might fix that thing after my stream today because like I didn't have time because yesterday I was like trying to install all the plugins and everything for OBS to like transfer stuff, even using like even the DaVinci Resolve and all that stuff. So that took my whole day, so I couldn't like fix my monitor setup and everything. That said, I'm going to create a archer class that inherits all the public content, let's say from my character class. There we go. And then I'll go with the pair of curly braces. There we go. Okay, now inside of my archer class, firstly, I'm going to publicize everything, and then let's go ahead and add a comment that says something like methods. Now for my methods, I'm going to be creating a void method called something like attack. So I'm going to call a void attack method with a pair of parentheses. Now my void attack method is going to be overriding, so I'm going to go with something like override all the content inside of my attack method. This is going to say something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like archer. Okay, archer shoots an arrow. Shoots an arrow. There we go. Okay, with a /new line ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to go ahead and end my class with a semicolon as well. So wipe coding on cursor and couldn't quit web. Wipe coding on cursor. Okay, that said, now let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my main function, guys, I feel like something is really wrong with my webcam. I feel like, guys, my webcam needs to be a little higher, I guess. I think I'll do that after the stream. Okay, that said, inside of my main function, I gotta create a dynamic array of pointers to character, max 5 characters. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a pointer for my character class. So I'll go with something like character Okay, I'll go with the asterisk for like for actually converting this into a pointer. This is going to be called something like character. Okay, and that is going to be a lowercase c, so I'm going to go with a lowercase c. There we go. Okay, no one can understand your accent by a new mic. Honestly, I feel like the accent isn't going to be mic because like mic is just like for the speaking. That said, honestly, comment if you guys do think that my accent is fake, although I do say you guys that it's almost impossible to like fake your accent if you like speak for hours plus like read chat GPTs, read the comments, and also like learn something. No, I don't use cursor. That's for nubs. Why would I exit NeoWim? Honestly, is like cursor like an IDE or something? Because I've honestly never heard of it. Okay, that said, so I create a dynamic array that consists of 5 characters. Now let's go ahead and fill my let's fill a few archers inside them. Okay, maybe I go with something like 3 elements. Okay, now inside of my character class, so I'm gonna go with something like my characters is object array. So I'll go with something like character at index of 0 equals to, let's go with something like, what all classes did I have? Okay, let's go with something like warrior class. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a memory address for my warrior class. So I'll go with something like new warrior ending with a semicolon, and then I'll do something like character at index of 1 equals to new, let's say something like mage, a memory address of my mage class, and then I'll go with something like character at index of 2 equals to a memory address for my archer class as well. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm gonna add a while loop. So use a while true loop to ask the player which character to summon, warrior, mage, archer, or exit. Dynamically create those chosen characters and store in the array. If exit is typed, break the loop. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a while loop. How doing is it pronounced as Fanny? I think Fanny, I appreciate you joining the stream, guys. I feel like I'm kinda awful at pronunciations. Bro, keep it up. Don't you take the comments too seriously. Honestly, I appreciate you guys for that. Okay, that's it. Yeah, honestly, I do like enjoy the comments though. Okay, that said, you don't call this fake accent. I call this the best teaching accent. I can understand everything. Keep it up, idiot, dude. I appreciate you, Sarah. That actually means the world to me, guys. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and create a while true loop now. So I'll go with something like while. Okay, angle abated. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like while a pair of parentheses, while true, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and now let's see, guys. Everything is so like in the monitor that I have at the left side, the stuff is like way too huge. At the right side, it's like kind of decent size, but the one that's in the the center is decent size. The one in the right side is like too small. That's what I usually read the chats. The chats are like micro size right now. Hey bro, what do you think about game development? Honestly, I do think game development is pretty fun. That's like when I first started programming, I did like focus on game development. That said, I do wanna work with AIs as well because I was kind of confused. Do I need to either be an AI engineer or like a cybersecurity? I will definitely be exploring both those categories and then move into one that I actually enjoy the most. That said, it's a tricky question. I wouldn't recommend it. I would okay, it would help if you pause a little after. If you pause a little bit after saying a conclusion, like I'm gonna call this character pause, then make it easier for some people to understand you. Honestly, that does make sense. I should actually pause. Okay, that said, I go ahead and create a while loop, and then inside my while loop, I gotta ask the player which character to summon. Okay, so maybe I go ahead and add, let's say, a variable. So I'll go with something like a variable which is a string. There we go. Okay, so my variable is a string that says something like ask, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a, let's see, enter a character to summon. Enter a character to summon. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon, and then let's add a standard console input with an extraction operator. This is going to be extracting my ask variables' value. Hey, you shouldn't get the mic once you start. Hey, you should get a mic once you start earning. Honestly, guys, that does make sense. That's it. I feel like my mic is actually pretty good, guys. This mic is, I think, just like $5 or something. I did add a good Pikachu sticker in this mic. I feel like it does work. Okay, that said, let's see. So I gotta ask the player which character to summon, okay? And then I'll add a if statement. So I'll go with something like if, a pair of parentheses, Okay, let's say something like if my ask variable is equal to I don't know, maybe warrior. Okay, if my ask variable is equal to warrior, or I'll go with something like ask equals to warrior, so uppercase and lowercase is allowed. I'm gonna go with a pair of curly braces, and then let's see. I'll go with a for loop. Maybe should I go with like a for loop? Okay, dynamically create the character and store in the array. Explicitly break the loop. Okay, why does bro have Pikachu microphone? Guys, it's actually just a sticker. Okay, that's it. And you should get one with filter when you got enough for one. Honestly, that does make sense. Mic is fine, you just slow down. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. That's it, guys. I feel like my mic, like the Pikachu sticker, it looks really cute, guys. Okay, I didn't want to like what you would call it, have like some Pokemons too, like some different Pokemons. Okay, for a loop. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Let's use the index-based for a loop. So I'll go with something like for a pair of parentheses. Maybe I zoom in. There we go. Okay, I'll go with something like for every integer of I which equals to 0. Let's go with something like while my I. Okay, I'm gonna go back. While my I is, let's say, less than 3, my vector's size, or my array's size, I'm gonna go ahead and increment my I by 1. Okay, my array's size is 3. Then I'll go with a pair of curly braces that does something. Let's say I'm gonna go with something like my characters is array, so I'll go with something like character. There we go. Add index of I, and then I'm going to use an arrow mark operator to point towards a specific method to do, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. So, okay, use map for storing those objects on arrays. Honestly, I haven't like started learning what maps yet. That said, I do have like what you call it, the maps topic in my in my roadmap for C++. I'll eventually actually cover that. Don't lie, microphone is secretly a Pikachu. Guys, I feel it's like a Ditto, I guess, who transformed into a microphone. Okay, that said, this is an if statement for if it is warrior. Now, if it is not a warrior, I'm gonna go ahead and add a else if. So I'll go with else if a pair of parentheses. My ask is equal to. Let's go with something like mage. Or is the second one called mage? Okay, if my ask is equal to mage, or my ask variable is equal to lowercase mage, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Honestly, I might actually copy the for loop and paste it here just to save some time. There we go. Okay. Okay, then I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go with character at index of I is gonna be mage. Should I like go with like a specific stuff here? Okay, I think this should be good. Okay, next up, I'll add another else if. So I'm gonna exit. Okay, now let's add another else if. So I'll go with else if a pair of parentheses. My ask equals to archer, or my ask variable equals to lowercase archer. There we go. I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then paste my for loop again. There we go. Okay, I think that should work. Excuse me, guys. Your Discord link in the channel has expired. Has it? Honestly, guys, many of you guys do say me that it has been expired. Is my Pikachu secretly microphone going on YouTube short videos? Guys, let me try actually sending it through my phone, because many of you guys did say me that my Discord link is expired. Although, like, when we go to Discord and like we try inviting someone, there is an option for like that says that the link should never expire. Go with the link that never expires. Like, there's like a never option here. Like, you guys could see it. Hold up, guys. Okay, there we go. So here there's like a thing that says like never. So I go with like the never, and then I generate a link, and then I go ahead and copy the link. Okay, there we go. Let me try pasting it in the chat. Okay, let me know if the link works, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and paste it here. There we go. Okay, probably you guys couldn't see a thing. Okay, that's it. I'm pretty sure that link should work, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and decrease the brightness from here. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add another else if now for checking if it exists. So I'll go with something like else if a pair of parentheses, my ask variable, okay, equals to something like, let's say, exit, okay, or my ask variable equals to lowercase exit. There we go. I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces that breaks, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Honestly, I didn't like add a destructor yet. This is going to be a pair of parentheses, not a pair of curly braces. So, there we go. Okay, I didn't add a destructor, so I honestly might add a destructor. Maybe under my for loop, I go with another for loop. Or maybe I do something like delete. Okay, so I'm gonna delete my character at index of I. Can we like do this, guys? Okay, I feel like this is. I feel this does make sense because like, do we need a separate for loop to do this stuff? That's I'll go ahead and paste it here and paste it here as well. There we go. Okay, that's pretty much it for my if state and for my while loops. Okay, next up. Okay, why does my main function have like a red underline here? Okay, it's gone. There we go. Okay, Archer spelling is different in uppercase one. Is it A-R-C-H-E? Oh, it is. Guys, I should pay more attention in this stuff. There we go. Okay, next up. I gotta dynamically create the chosen one, break the loop after the loop exits. After exiting the loop, loop through the array and call attack for each character, loop again to delete each dynamic. Oh, wait, hold up. In that case, guys, I might not actually need my delete here because, like, I gotta loop over all my characters once. Okay, so let's go all the way down and add another for loop. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for the integer of I which equals to 0, okay, while my I is less than 3, which is my array's size, I'm going to go ahead and increment my I by 1, and then I'll go with the pair of curly braces. By the way, what will be the output? Honestly, the output is going to be like a user input where, like, what you call it, the user, like, I ask the user, or like the terminal asks the user to enter an enter a warrior's name or enter a character's name, and then it displays the standard console outputs with the attack method of that character, if that made any sense, guys. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna do something, so I'll go with something like my character. Okay, my character's an object at index of I is going to be having an arrow mark operator, which is going to be pointing towards my attack method, ending with a semicolon. And then I add another for loop, this time to delete everything because I did create new for a memory address. So I'll go with something like for every integer of I which equals to 0. While my I is less than 3, I'm going to go ahead and increment my I by 1. Okay, what is this? Honestly, this is like called an arrow operator or an arrow mark operator. I think it's just an arrow operator, which basically like tells me like inside of my arrays inside of my character objects array, I have different other objects. So the index of I always changes, and where it stops, my arrow operator is going to point towards the attack method for that object. For example, if it stopped at my warrior object, it is going to be displaying warrior swings a sword. If it stopped at a mage object, it's going to display mage cast a fireball. Although that works only because I had like a virtual stuff and I overrode all my same name methods, like same method names. If that made any sense, guys. I think I made that sound really vague. That's how I'll go with the pair of curly braces that goes ahead and deletes okay, my character at index of I, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Let me lastly go ahead and return 0. Now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, let's see. Oh, guys, something just spawned in my other screen. Okay, in my other display. There we go. Can you guys like see the whole thing? Guys, is this supposed to spawn like this? This just popped out. Okay, let's see. This is gonna say something like maybe warrior. I'll go with a lowercase warrior. Warrior swings a sword, archer casts a fireball, archer shoots an arrow. Okay. Maybe I'll go with something like a pen. Okay, it does ask me here as well. Hold up, guys. I think I could like do it here. Let's cancel the whole thing and run the command again. Okay, why does it spawn a whole terminal, guys? This never happened with me. Okay, that said, maybe I could like get this up here, zoom out a bit, go all the way there. Okay, maybe I'll go with something like pen. Okay, pen does not exist. I'll go with something like warrior. Okay, I swing, warrior swings a sword, and then the whole thing ends. Okay, I don't know what just happened, guys. Shouldn't I like see it here? Let's say something like pen, it's read only. I think you have an issue in your logic for all characters. You get the same output, will I? Huh. Okay, honestly, maybe because I forgot to add like, And else plus, I'll go with something like else. Let's go with a pair of curly braces or a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like pick a valid character. There we go. Ta-ta. Okay, with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Now, if I were to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. And guys, am I audible? With an insertion operator, that's it. Okay, perfect. Guys, why do I get this here? It says something like Nurchant Cyber Capture. What does that mean, guys? Okay, maybe I zoom in a little. Okay, let's go with something like maybe a mage. Mage swings a sword, maybe a warrior. Okay, warrior swings a sword, maybe a... Why does it go after a while? Guys, did I set my compiler correct? Yes, you're audible. Okay, guys, actually, it sometimes scares me a bit because I'm like, in case I'm not audible, later I go on my stream and I was like, I'd be talking the whole day for like no one to listen. Okay, that said, let's go. Wait, maybe I go to my terminal. What up, guys? Okay, this might make sense, honestly. I was in the wrong spot all along. Okay, if I were to run the command, let's go to my terminal this time. Okay, is it gonna say something? Why is my terminal here? Like, I've never seen this somewhere like this. Huh. Okay. Is it my settings or something? Okay, because like when I first initially started C++, you guys helped me set my compiler up. That's it, I tried it on my own this time. No wonder I kind of messed up, I think. Okay, are you in college? Honestly, yeah, I'm like a freshman in college. Okay, that's sad. Maybe I go with the controller. Control-C, copy that. Let's get Sensei/ChatGPT here real quick. I want to ask Sensei/ChatGPT something. Okay, let's get that all the way there. And then extend that. Okay, now let me go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift-Enter and say something like Sensei. Okay, let's say something like Sensei. I feel like the code is correct. Although I did change devices, so maybe my compiler is messed up, question mark, because when I run the command, okay, I get a new window that pops up, okay, saying me to enter a character name ... and it also disappears after a bit. Huh. Okay, where are you from? Honestly, I used to answer a lot. That's a many of you guys did say me to avoid saying that, so I try to avoid saying that these days. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and check this. What's the JavaScript? Honestly, this is C++. Okay, that's it. Let me check if my stream's going good everywhere. Okay, perfect. Oh, people, I see exactly what you did, guys. Let me actually hydrate my lips real quick. Okay, oh people, I see exactly what you did, and yes, I'm madly impressed, but you're making the classic beginner mistake. Here's the truth. While your while loop is correct, your program executes so fast because most IDEs or window terminal setups, the console window closes immediately when the program finishes. That's why you see it pop up and disappear. It's not your logic, it's just the environment. Another issue is user input handling. Right now, every time you type a character, all three characters, not just the first character summoned. Okay, you only chose the character to attack. You need dynamic creation inside the loop like instructional questions said, instead of pre-creating. Fix for those fast closing windows, press exit standard console input dot ignore. Honestly, I haven't like heard of these functions. Okay, let me say something like before in my old device, my whatchamacallit, what's it called? I honestly forgot. My compiler didn't spawn a whole window. Instead, I could just use my terminal for the user input. There we go. Okay, and honestly guys, give me a sec. Let me just message my sister saying her she's kind of loud. Let me say something like you're kind of loud ... guys, because I feel that mic is like way too prominent. You can like hear all the background noises. Okay, that said, what is Sensei? Honestly, Sensei in Japanese is like teacher. I thought that would be a pretty good idea to like have it on. Okay, you don't stay awake at night. It's not good for your health, please. honestly, it is like 3:23 p.m. right now. That said, people, that makes perfect sense. What's happening? Your old setup probably ran the program directly in a terminal or console. The console stayed open because you were already inside it, so you could type input without closing. Your new setup seems to run the program by double-clicking the executable, which spawns a temporary console, runs the program, then closes immediately when it finishes. That's why it pops and opens fix, run from terminal, open command prompt in terminal, cd to your projects, okay, then run your program with your program.exe or just exe name. This keeps window open, okay. Pause at the end of main function like I told you. So in your code is just how your environment handles the console, guys. It's something. Okay, quite personal questions. Honestly, that does make sense. Where are you from? Honestly, I used to say that a lot. That's why many of you guys did send me to like avoid saying that, so I did kind of stop saying it. Guys, did I understand a thing from here? Might have to watch a YouTube video on that. What does your program.exe mean? Open command prompt or terminal, cd to your project folder. Okay, cd command to your project folder. Wait, honestly, should I like run the command here? Okay, so I'm gonna run the command. Okay, let's go with something like a run code. Code is already running. Okay, let's go ahead and close my code real quick. And then I'm gonna go ahead and run my code. Okay, now I will be going to my terminal. Let's go ahead and cancel that. Inside of my terminal, I'm assuming I gotta type something like your program. So I'll go with something like /your program. So I'll go with something like your program. There we go. Okay, so your program.exe.executable. What does that say? Let's see. Okay, I got a whole error, guys. Okay, your terminal is not recognized as the name of the command prompt. Huh, I see. Okay, honestly, give me a sec, guys, real quick. So let's do that real quick. Let's go ahead and call that. Huh. Okay, guys, I think I should like figure this off stream right now. I should actually just work on my stuff. Okay, let's get to this. Let me actually open my chat real quick. There we go. Okay. Guys, I might actually be like, why the hell are you repeating where you from questions? Honestly, I should actually ignore them, guys. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and delete that. .exe. Pause at the end of your main function. Okay, if I like said that. Maybe I go to something like settings. And then... okay, I don't remember. How did I do this before? And like, why does it spawn a whole terminal up? Okay, let's try running the code again. Is it because I don't have a code runner? I think I installed the code runner. That should be your file name of C++. Oh, hold up, guys. That actually makes sense. Wait, I think I kept my file name of C++, something like C++ file. Hold up, guys. Let me go ahead and open that up real quick. Okay, so it's called main. So if I were to run the code, okay, and then I go to terminal. So let's go ahead and cancel that. Okay, so it is called main. So let me open Sensei/ChatGPT stuff here again. Okay, so I'll go with something like / your program. Instead, I'll go with something like main.exe. Guys, it actually did work. I did not expect that to work, guys. Okay, in that case, it actually solves almost everything. Okay, so let's go ahead and open my other tabs as well. There we go. Okay, can then get Sensei/ChatGPT back here. Okay, now it says enter a character summon. Can you even see that, guys? I think it's way too small. How do you increase the size? There's an option of run recent command, go to directory, okay, run activate file, clear terminal, scroll to next command. Okay, maybe clear terminal. Now I do have the trash as well. How do I zoom in? Okay, maybe I go to settings and then, okay, there's extensions, there's snippets, task, memes. Maybe I go to something like settings. Okay, and then font size, I'll go with something like 30. Is 30 a pretty good font size? Okay, I feel my terminal's font size is kind of small. Oh, this means how... Okay, I see. There we go. That makes it much better, honestly. I might go with onto settings again and autosave. Should I go with autosave? Okay, honestly, I'll just keep autosave off, show extension, default formatter. Defines a formatter which takes... How do you spell this, guys? I can't even read it. It's like... precedence over all the formatter settings must be the identifier of an extension contributing a formatter. Howdy, Daniel. I appreciate you joining the stream. Is it normal now? I'm not watching your stream so often. Honestly, I feel yeah, it is normal. They're actually kind of pretty good also, I would say, because like you guys should actually work on your stealth as well. Okay, that said, I do recommend like whatchamacallit, some people who are just starting off, I would like recommend them watching because like whatchamacallit, I do a lot of practice questions. Okay, that said, tab size, the number of spaces a tab requires, okay. And then mouse wheel, format on pad, controls whether the editor is automatically format or paste content, text editor, okay, that's 500, controls the number of lines on the text editor can read its screen at once. Okay guys, how do I increase my terminal size? Okay, AI stats enable, it's off, that's experimental, allow variable fonts in accessible mode, okay. Guys, I don't see anything related to my terminal here, like that is so small. How are you guys even gonna like read that? Okay, run task, configure task. Okay, there are 3 dots here. Clear terminal, run to okay, I think I should like just go with this. I could like extend this and then maybe zoom in. Why can't I zoom in? I'm pretty sure I should be able to zoom in. Okay, maybe I figured that out off stream, guys. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and delete the whole thing. Okay, now at least I can like zoom in perfectly now. Okay, okay, let's get Sensei/ChatGPT back here. Whoops, let's go ahead and shrink that a little. Go all the way there. Okay, guys, this feels I'm doing everything like so much manually. I should like whatchamacallit. Like in my old piece, I used to do like automatically, like all these things were just automatically set. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and paste this, go with shift enter and say something like, say it works now, dot dot dot. That said, can I get another question mark? And also, my terminal's outputs are very small. Is there a way to increase the size question mark? Okay, can I make them bigger? Control plus/minus, control and plus/minus. Huh, that actually does make sense. Let me try that real quick. What up, guys? Let's get Sensei here. Okay, and then if I were to run the code real quick. Okay, now it's big apparent. Okay, well, the terminal spawned again, guys. Okay, hold up. Maybe I gotta go to my terminal. There we go. Okay, and then I'll go with something like ./main.exe. There we go. Okay, now if I go with something like control plus. Oh, that does work. Guys, I feel that's actually genius. Hold up, that actually does work. Oh, you guys are actually geniuses, guys. Yeah, I appreciate you, Indros. That actually helped so much. Okay, now everything is like really big. Okay, what happens if I delete this and run the code again? Okay, and then I just gotta go to my terminal. Is there a way to like keep my terminal open like permanently? Because like it always goes to my outputs. Okay, maybe let's go ahead and delete something or like remove something from my C++ directory. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that main. Okay, now I just have one thing inside of my C++ directory. Okay, that said, let's get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Again, I canceled it by mistake, guys. So, what if I go with something like control minus there? There we go. Okay, now if I were to get Sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, let's get it like all the way there. And then extend it a little bit. Okay, and then extend it from here as well. And then go with something like control plus. Guys, control plus is actually genius. There we go. Okay, that is big enough. Maybe a little bigger. There we go. Okay, I think that's good. Let me go to my OBS real quick to check if the proportions are good. Okay, perfect. It does look pretty good. Okay, that said, let's get my VS Code up here real quick. I'll go with something like ./main.exe. Okay, I think I shouldn't have removed that file, guys. Let me go ahead and add that back again inside of my C++ directory. Okay, there we go. Okay, now this should work. If I were to actually delete that thing, and if I were to control S to save the code and run the command. Let's open my terminal. Okay, I'll go with .main.exe. Okay. Let's remove that. Guys, isn't there an easier way to do this? Although if I do go with warrior right now, it does work. And I could go with something like mage as well. And then maybe I go with something like exit. That exits my code. Okay, perfect. Okay, now let's get Sensei here again. Yeah, I think that actually did fix a lot of stuff. Okay, use window key with the arrow to have side windows parallelly. Oh, that actually does make sense. Okay, that said, let's read the next instructional question. Now let's level up your overriding RPG system. Keep your character, okay, create a battle simulator. Keep your character warrior, mage, archer. Okay, let me see something like, say, maybe a shopping system this time, question mark. Okay guys, I feel like I want to go with something new. Oh, I like that, people. Let's turn your overriding power into a shopping system. Here's a plan for your instructional question. Create a base class called product with member variables called name and string. So we're going to be using data members as well this time. Okay, virtual method called display info that prints the product details. Create derived classes. I got to create an electronics class that adds a warranty data. Excuse me, guys, warranty data member, which is an integer. A clothing class that adds a size. Okay, excuse me guys, a size data member which is a string, and a material data member which is a string as well. Okay, key control plus j command workbench action.terminal.toggle.terminal. Open the command panel to control shift, choose preferences, open keyboard shortcuts, JSON and new. Oh, that actually does make sense. Actually, I might actually try that as soon as I'm done with my stream. Okay, that said, then in my main function, I gotta use dynamic memory new to create a few products for each type, store them in a base class pointer, use a while loop to ask the user which product they want to view by name, display the product info using the overridden method. If they type exit, break the loop. At the end, delete all dynamically allocated memory. Okay, let's get some C/ChatGPT here. That said, let's get the instructions all the way up there. And let me start off by deleting everything. Okay, let's go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces IO stream. So I'll start off by including IO stream. Then maybe I zoom in a bit more. There we go. Okay, why does it take like so long to zoom in? There we go. Let's go ahead and delete that. And let's start off by creating a class called product. So I'm going to be creating a product class. There we go. With a pair of curly braces. Now my product class is going to be having a few data members. So I'm going to go ahead and firstly, let's say maybe I'm going to create a few protected data members. Okay, so the first data member is going to be, let's say, a standard string of name. So I'll go with something like a standard string of name. There we go. Okay, ending with a semicolon. The second is going to be a double slash a floating point number of my price, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, and then let's go ahead and publicize everything now. And then I'm going to add a comment that says constructor, because I will be creating a constructor. There we go. Okay, now for my constructor, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my product class. So I'm going to go with something like product. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses. My product class's constructor is going to be requiring, let's say, two parameters. The first parameter is going to be a standard string of name. And the second parameter is going to be a double of price. There we go. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces to initialize my, my data members. So I'll do something like this: name data member equals to my name parameter, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go with something like this: price data member is going to be okay, this price data member is going to be equal to my price parameter, ending with a semicolon as well. Now that I've created a constructor, I'm going to go ahead and add another method called something like, I don't know, maybe I'll go with something like, let's see, what all methods do I need? I need a virtual method called display info that prints the product details. So I'll go with something like a virtual method, a virtual void method called something like display info with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now my virtual display method is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something that prints the product details. Okay, so firstly, I could go with something like product, product name is going to be something like, I'll go in a new line, add an insertion operator of my name data member with another insertion operator of an empty space, and maybe I'll go with something like, okay, product name is that, and price. How do I go with price, honestly? I could go with something like a poll line and say something like price. There we go. Okay, so I'll go with price, add another insertion operator of my price data member. There we go. Okay, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, so name is name, price is price. Alright, and then I'm gonna end my class with a semicolon as well. Now I gotta create 3 derived classes. So the first derived class is gonna be called electronics. So I'm gonna go with something like electronics. There we go. Okay, electronics. Okay, there we go. Okay, now my electronics class is gonna inherit all the public content from my products class. So I'm gonna inherit all the public content from my product class. There we go, and then I'll go to above curly braces. Do you think of how do you think about Linux? Honestly, when I did actually build my PC, I was confused between Windows and Linux, although I didn't want actually risk Linux because I do need to install OBS and everything. So I did go with Windows, guys. Although many of you guys did say me that Linux is the best for programming. That said, maybe next time I will go with Linux. Can someone say say what did him said? Okay, is it a good operating system? Honestly, I think Linux is pretty good for programming, all that. I've not really tried it. Many of you guys did say me that Linux is really good for programming. That said, let's see. So I'm going to be creating a electronics class that inherits all the public content from my product class. Okay, my electronics class is going to be having a protected data member called warranty. So let's go ahead. Go with something like protected data member called something like warranty. So I'm gonna go with something like integer of warranty. Okay, honestly, I might not go with protected because I might go with private. Because I honestly might not need the protected one because no one is going to inherit from my electronics class. Okay, so I'll go with something like private, ending with a semicolon, and then let's go ahead and publicize everything. Okay, your PC seems weak. Is it honestly? I actually think, and guys, I do have a video where it did actually show me actually building that part, except of adding the power supply and fitting inside of the case, because that part did get pretty complicated. So I don't think I could stream that part. Okay, where are you from? But honestly, I used to answer that much. That said, I did avoid saying that. Okay, shut up, Pawn. Keep up the great work. Hey, hiding PY. I appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, damn, you're advancing so fast. I honestly appreciate you guys for that. I feel like you guys helped me way too much. Before once, one of you guys did help me actually set my compiler up really quick, guys, because I couldn't get my display on my terminal. That said, I'm going to be adding a comment that says something like constructor. For my constructor, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my electronics class that requires, let's say, 3 parameters. So it's going to require a name parameter, a price parameter, and a warranty parameter or a warrant parameter. Okay, honestly, warranty years. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go with a few data members. The first data member is going to be a standard string of name. The second data member is going to be something like a double of, I don't know, maybe price. There we go. Okay, and then maybe I'll let it comma and go in a new line. Next is going to be an integer of warrant years. Should I go with warranty years? That might make more sense. Okay, so I'll go with something like warranty years. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a colon. And honestly, now since I am inheriting from my products class, I'm going to be creating a constructor for my product class as well. Okay, it's so clean. Honestly, is it? That actually does make sense. Because guys, before when I used to actually stream, there used to be a lot of lag. I feel it's so much better and much better to even focus when there's no lag. Okay, that said, I'm going to go with something like product, which is going to be having 2 parameters. The first is going to be a name parameter, and the second is going to be a price parameter. So there we go. Okay, and then I'll go with the proper curly braces. Now let's go ahead and initialize the. Okay, let's go ahead and initialize my warranty years as parameters. So I'm going to go with something like this. Warranty years as parameter is going to be equal to, let's go with something like my warranty years as parameter ending with a semicolon. Actually, my warranty years as data member equals to my warranty years as parameter. Guys, I feel like I phrased that wrong. Okay, next up I'm going to go ahead and create methods now. So let's go ahead and zoom in a little. Okay, and then add a comment that says something like methods. And now for my methods, I'm going to be creating a method called display info. So I'll go with something like a void method called something like display info. Exactly the same method that my that my product class had. Okay, although I will be overriding everything inside of it. So I'll go with the pair of curly braces and then use the override keyword and then a pair of curly braces. This is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like product name. There we go, product name. Did I spell it correct? KDISPL. Oh, there we go, I spelled it wrong. There we go, display info. Okay, so this is going to be my product name. I'll go in a new line, add an insertion operator of my name data member with another insertion operator of a poll that says something like price with another insertion operator of my price data member. There we go. Okay, and now, excuse me guys, I'll go with another insertion operator, this time for my warranty. So I'll go with another, excuse me guys, another line for my warranty. So I'll go with something like warranty. There we go. Okay, with another insertion operator of my warranty years is data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my electronics class. I'm going to end that with a semicolon. Now let's go ahead and create another class. So the next class I got to create is called clothing that has a parameter of size and material, both are strings. So I'll go ahead and create a class called clothing. There we go. My clothing class does inherit all the public content. So I'll go with something like does inherit all the public content from my product class. There we go. And then I'm going to add a pair of curly braces. So, okay, also fix display to display. Display to display. So, guys, I feel like I missed a lot of comments. Okay, shut up. Okay, fix the warrant. Oh wait, did I spell it wrong? It's warranty. Oh, I see. Okay, okay, hold up. Fix the warranty. It says warranty. Does it? I think it says warranty. WARRANTY. I think that's actually correct. Okay, that's it. Okay, next up, inside of my clothing class, let me actually check if my stream's going good on Kick. Okay, what about on YouTube? Okay, perfect. Alright, next up, let me actually go all the way here. Okay, now let's go ahead and add a comment that says constructor. Although before that, I do gotta publicize everything. Actually, before I do publicize stuff, I'm gonna add a private data member. So I'll go with a few private data members. The first private data member is gonna be called, let's see, so it's gonna be size, and the second is gonna be string. Okay, so I'm gonna create two data members which are strings. The first is gonna be size. The second is gonna be material. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end that with a semicolon, publicize everything, and then add a comment that says something like constructor, because I will be creating constructor as well. There we go. Okay, now for my constructor, let's create a clothing classes constructor, which is going to be requiring, let's say, 4 data members. The first data member is going to be a standard string of name. Okay, my product's name. The second data member is going to be a double of price, a decimal point price. The third is going to be something like a standard string of size. Okay, and lastly, the fourth is going to be a standard string of material. There we go. Okay, howdy people, I appreciate you joining the stream. It says warranty years. No, it's not. No. Okay, the integer 1 in line 26. Line 26. Oh. How did I actually spell that wrong? Okay, there we go. Let's go with something like warranty years. There we go. Okay, perfect. I think that should fix it. Guys, I should pay more attention in like stuff like those. Okay, that's it. This is a constructor for my clothing class. Although since I am inheriting from my product class, I am going to be adding a constructor for my products class as well. So I'll go with something like product, add a pair of parentheses. My product class does require 2 parameters. First is name, second is price, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, now let's initialize my 2 data members that I just created. So I'm going to do something like this size data member. equals to my size parameter ending with a semicolon, and then something like this material data member equals to my material parameter ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's pretty much it for my constructor. Now let's go ahead and add another comment that says something like methods. For my methods, I'm going to be creating a void method called something like, let's see, okay, it's called something like display info with a pair of parentheses, and my display info method is going to be overriding all the content inside of my other display info methods. If it's being printed, like if the display info method of my clothing class is being displayed, okay, that said, I'm going to be having a standard console output. Uh, okay, with an insertion operator that is going to say something like product price. Okay, so my product price, I'll go in a new line, add an insertion operator of my actually I might go with product name first. There we go. Okay, this is going to be my name data member with another insertion operator of maybe a bar or like a bold line. The second one is going to be something like price. This is going to be my product's price. Okay, with another insertion operator of my price data member. Then I'll go in a new line, add a comment. Okay, this is going to be my, let's say size, my product size. I'll add another insertion operator of my size data member. And then I'll add another insertion operator that has a space. A final insertion operator that is going to be saying something like, honestly, I might say material here. Material, let's capitalize my size. Okay, and this is going to be my material data member. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, that's pretty much it for my displays. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and end my class with a semicolon. And let's create my final class called food. So I'm going to be creating another class called something like food. My food class doesn't hide all the public content from my, let's say, product class. So I'm going to go with something like product. Okay, and then I'll go with the pair of curly braces. Now, my food class is going to be having a private data member of expiration date as well, which is going to be a string. So I'm going to private everything. Okay, and then let's go ahead and create a private data member, which is going to be a standard string and it's going to be called expiration date. There we go. Guys, I had to make sure I don't mess the spelling up. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and end that with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicalize everything. So I'll go with something like public. Okay, guys, let me actually keep this somewhere here. Maybe I'll drink some. Okay, I feel like I was honestly pretty thirsty. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and publicalize everything. Okay, so I'm going to be creating a public method. Actually, I'll add a constructor. There we go. Okay, so for my constructor, I'm going to do something. Let's see. I might actually create a constructor for my food class first. So I'll go with something like food, add a pair of parentheses. Okay, now my food class is going to be consisting of, let's say, a few parameters. Okay, guys, give me a sec, actually. Let me just do something. There we go. Now, my foods class is going to be having, let's see how many parameters. So, only 3 parameters. The first parameter is going to be, let's see. Okay, so the first parameter is going to be something like a standard string of name. The second parameter is going to be a double of price. There we go. Let's zoom out a bit. Okay, and lastly, the third parameter is going to be, let's go with the control Z. There we go. A standard string of expiration date. To avoid typos, I honestly might copy that and paste it here. Okay, and then I'm going to be adding a colon and creating a constructor for, let's say, my new class. Okay, from the class that I'm inheriting from, since I'm inheriting from my product class, I'm going to go with product, and then I'll add a pair of parentheses. My product class does require 2 parameters of name and of price. Okay, and then I'll go with the pair of curly braces and initialize my expiration date parameters. So I'm going to do something like this expiration date data member equals to my expiration date parameter ending with a semicolon. And that's pretty much it for my constructor. Now let's go ahead and add a comment that says something like methods. For my methods, I gotta go ahead and create a void method called something like display info with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now my void display info method, honestly, before I had a pair of curly braces, since my product class does have this exact same method name, I am going to be overriding this. So I'll go with the override keyword and then a pair of curly braces. So if the display info method of my food class is being invoked, that's when I'm going to display the whatchamacallit, the content or the console output of the display info method inside of my food class. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, that says something like product name. So I'll go with something like product name. Okay, I'll go colon. In a new line, this is going to be my name data member. Then maybe like the pipeline or like a poll line. Is it called like a bar line? Okay, I'll go with another insertion operator of my price. There we go. Okay, maybe I like title case this. There we go. Okay, and then I go in a new line at another insertion operator. The third and last thing that I might have to add is expiration date. So I'll go with something like, there we go, expiration date with another insertion operator of my expiration date data member. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Alright, perfect. That's honestly pretty much it for all my classes. Now let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'm going to go ahead and type integer main, add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now inside of my main function, I'm going to do something. It says to use dynamic memory, okay, new to create few product of each type, store them in a base class pointer array. So I'll need an array here. So let's go ahead and create a object for my product class, which is going to be a pointer. It's going to be pointing towards a specific item inside of my array, because the object that I do create of product is going to be an array which consists of, let's say, 3 items. Okay, a few products for each type, store them in a base class pointer array. Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and end that with a semicolon. Now let's fill in a few values. Hello friend, good to see you again. I appreciate you. Is your name pronounced as Lilzy? That actually means a lot to me, guys. Okay, that's it. Yesterday, I honestly couldn't like stream for that long because like my stream was lagging so much. Today it's not lagging because I did like whatchamacallit, actually build my new PC. I am going to probably work on editing that after like I'm done streaming and studying for my college stuff, because I do have some assignments and an exam like next week. Okay, that said, my product at index of 0, my products is array at index of 0 equals to, let's say, new of my maybe electronics class. There we go, ending with a semicolon. Honestly, since I do have a constructor, I will need to add a pair of parentheses. Now, if I were to go all the way in here, okay, so I have a warranty, so I need a parameter of name, price, and warranty. So let's say my name is going to be something like, I don't know, maybe S22, my product's name. And then I'll go with something like price. Price is going to be something like, maybe, I don't know, like $699.99. Okay, and then lastly, warranty is like about 5 years. Okay, and then I'm going to end that with a semicolon. And then I'll go with something like my product at index of 1 is going to be equal to new. And the reason I do use new is because new does give me a memory address. Instead of going with new, I could go with an ampersand as well. Although, whatchamacallit, I feel like adding new is a good practice. I might ask that to Sensei. That said, I can go with a new and a ampersand. Let me try that. Okay, the reason I can go with new and ampersand is because new gives me a memory address and ampersand gives me a memory address as well, where the pointer has to point towards. This would be double memory addresses if I had both together. Okay, that said, my second one is going to be called something like clothing with a pair of parentheses. What are parameters my clothing constructor requires? It requires a name, a price, a size, and a material. So the name is going to be something like, guys, what name? Should I go with something like a shirt? Okay, so I'll go with a shirt. The shirt costs something like $60, and like the size of the shirt is something like 12 inches. Okay, and the quality is something like silk. No wonder it's like $60, guys. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and end that with a semicolon as well. Okay, my name is shirt. Why do I have a red underline here in that case? I go with product at index of 1. Wait, let's go all the way to my constructor for my clothing class. I go with standard string of name, a double of price. It could be because my price, okay, my size and my material needs to be a string. apparently my size is supposed to be a string. Wait, did I read that part wrong? Okay, so for my clothing, string size, string material, I think both are strings. Bro, you're so hardworking. Honestly, I appreciate you, Pikachu, for that, guys. That actually makes me feel so good, actually, sometimes. Okay, that's it. I think Lilzy, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and create another one. So I'm gonna go with something like my product. Okay, so I'll go with something like my product. So the array at index of 2 this time, which is basically my third element in my array, is going to be equal to new, a new memory address of my food with a pair of parentheses. Okay, this is going to be having the constructor here needs 3 data members. First is a name, second is a double of price, third is an expiration date. So first is a name, so my food is going to be called something like, I don't know, maybe pizza. Okay, and then I'll go with something like, my pizza is gonna cost something like $16.99. Guys, I don't know where all these expensive stuff coming from. That said, my pizza is gonna expire, let's say, maybe in like 5 days. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end that with a semicolon. Next up, that's honestly pretty much it. Wait, did I need 2 standard strings for my constructor? Okay, my expiration date is a string as well. Okay, so let's delete that. What is today's date? Today is it's October 30th, right? So I'm gonna go with something like November 15th. Guys, I feel the pizza is gonna last 16 days. Okay, that said, after I'm done with all that, each derived class overrides display info, including its extra text info. Then in my main function, okay, I use a dynamic memory to allocate stuff, store them in a base class pointer of array, did that. Then I gotta use a while loop to ask the user which product they want to view by name, okay? So let's go ahead and add a while true loop. So I'll go with something like while, a pair of parentheses, let's say something like while true, and then a pair of curly braces. Excuse me guys, so I'm gonna do something like while true, ask the user which product they want to view by name. Honestly, since it's by name, I could like go ahead and create a standard string variable called something like name ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a product to search by name. Okay, so I'm gonna enter a product to search by name. Okay, and then I'm gonna end that with a semicolon. And that's it. To get the value of my name variable, I'm gonna go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. Let's go ahead and extract my name variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I gotta display that products is info using the overridden method. Okay, so I gotta use a for loop most likely, guys. So maybe I go with something like unique pointer, please. You leak, sir. Honestly, I leak. Okay, I think yeah, if I didn't like add a delete, that could cause a memory leak for my, my new keywords. Although I will actually add a delete, so I think that would fix the leak issue. Howding, Imoy Music, is that your pronunciation name? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and add a if statement now. So I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say something like if my name variable equals to okay, what all names do I have? So I have S22, I have a shirt, and I have a pizza. If it equals to something like S22, then I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add an index-based for loop. So I'll go with something like for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for the integer of I which equals to 0. While my I is less than, maybe I'll go with something like 3, my raises size. I'm gonna increment my by 1. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, then inside of my for loop, I'm gonna do something. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go with something like my products is array, so I'll go with something like product. And index of I is going to be pointing towards a specific method of that object, which is inside of, which is like the value of my I here. Okay, I'm gonna go with the display info. That is an arrow mark operator or like an arrow operator. And then I ended with a semicolon. Now let's go ahead and add a else if. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a else if, a pair of parentheses, else if my name variable is equal to. Let's go with something like, should I go with pizza first or clothing, guys? I feel like I should go with a shirt first. So I'll go with something like shirt. Maybe I go with all lowercase. There we go. if my name equals to shirt, I will actually go with title case. There we go. I'm going to do something. Let's go ahead and add a pair of curly braces that goes with something like my products as array. So I'll go with my products as array, add index of I, and it's going to be using the arrow operator to point towards something. My bad, guys. I should first add a for loop. Okay, so first let's go ahead and add an index-based for loop. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses for every integer of I which equals to 0. While my I is less than 3, which is my array's size, I'm going to increment my I by 1, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now I'm going to go with something like my products as array at index of I is going to be pointing towards using the arrow operator, my display info method, okay, with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. Okay, I think my I should be capital for my info. There we go, guys. Okay, now let's add another else if. Hello, how are you? Do you see this comment? Honestly, I do see the comment. How are you doing, Tira? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that said, I'm gonna go ahead and add another else if. So I'll go with else if and that a pair of parentheses. Else if my name equals to maybe pizza this time, so I'm gonna go with something like pizza. I'll do something like a pair of curly braces, and then let's go ahead and add another index-based for loop. So I'll go with something like for a pair of parentheses for every integer of I which equals to 1 and actually which equals to 0. And guys, I actually realized how clumpy my back looks, because like I did like move my setup from all the way there to like this side because I'm scooted all the way towards my window. That said, I had to like move my red curtain as well, so I feel it's kind of messed up. I might fix this after the stream today. That said, while my I is, let's say, less than 3, my array's this size, I'm going to increment my I by 1, and then I'll go with the pair of curly braces. Okay, that said, let's see, what else should I do? Okay, let's go with something like my product at index of I with an arrow operator. It's going to be pointing towards my display info method of the specific object that is currently the value of I, if that made any sense, guys. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Okay, let me actually check if my stream's going good on Cake. Okay, I feel like Cake stream's going good. There we go. Let me check if it's going good on YouTube. Horizontal. Okay, perfect. I think my stream's going good. Okay, that said, let's read the next instruction. Okay, now I'll check if my if my name equals to exists. So I'll go with something like else if a pair of parentheses. If my name equals to exit, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces, and then let's go ahead and break, ending with a semicolon. Okay, honestly, I'll add an else clause as well. So I'll go with else a pair of curly braces. That is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like this does not exist. Try again. With a smiley face maybe. There we go. Exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, that's honestly pretty much it for my while loop. Okay, and then it says display the product using the overridden method. If the type exit, break the loop at the end, delete all dynamically allocated products. Okay, I'm assuming I gotta create a destructor as well. That said, let me go ahead and add a for loop here. So I'll go with something like for a pair of parentheses. Let's go with something like for every integer of I which equals to something like 0. While my I is less than 3, my array's size, I'm going to go ahead and increment my I by 1. This guy is really good. You're really motivating me to code tonight. Honestly, that does make really sense, guys. Honestly, good luck with coding Emoi music, because I feel, guys, it is like pretty fun once you actually get a gist of it. That said, okay, let's go with something like I'm going to use the delete keyword this time. I'm going to delete something. Let's say I'm going to delete my products as array. So I'm going to go with something like product at index of I ending with a semicolon. Okay, well, and that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and return 0. Okay, honestly, okay, I might add destructors as well. So after I create constructors, I will be creating a destructor too. I think I should add a comment that says destructor. I think I should. I'll add a comment that says something like destructor. For my destructor, I'm going to use a tilde, my foods is class, with a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. That has a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like food destructor activated. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do that for my clothing as well. So I'm gonna go all the way down here. Could you please answer my previous comment? Honestly, I think I read the comment. Uh, Quick question, could we make the for loop with display info into a function? Honestly, I'm pretty sure that we could actually make it into a function, and then like whatchamacallit, we could use that function to display the stuff as well, like if the function had a few parameters. Let's see. So honestly, this does go with an index, but I feel like if we did like make it as a function, I feel that would be kind of complicating. I mean, it wouldn't be like impossible to do it because we just need an index, so like we could, but we'll need like a for loop inside of our function. Okay, that actually does make sense because we repeat the for loop so many times. And again, what are we doing right now? Honestly, I'm working on overriding functions in C++ using the virtual constructors and destructors as well. That said, I might actually ask Sensei about the function part. I might actually try that as well because that might save a lot of time. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and add a comment here that says destructor as well. There we go. Okay, for my destructor, I'm going to be adding a standard console. Actually, I'm going to use a tilde first, a tilde operator with a destructor for my clothing class. Okay, with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. My destructor is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like clothing destructor called with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Should I add a okay, clothing destructor activated. There we go. Okay, next up, let me scroll all the way up again to add my final destructor for my electronics class. I'm going to be adding a comment that says something like destructor I liked and stuff. I appreciate you so much, Joe. That actually means the world to me, guys. Okay, so I'll go with something like destructor. And then let's go ahead and add a tilde operator for my electronics class with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. This is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like electronics destructor activated with a / new line ending with a semicolon. As I love C++ and Python and HTML too. Honestly, yeah, Python was really fun because I did have like a whole series on Python. My goal by that end of that series was to make a game in general. I was done with that like 45 days ago. Okay, tell us what salary you expect. Honestly, guys, I haven't like thought about that because like I don't do a job or anything. That said, guys, you guys could like call me jobless or something. Okay, I think that was like an awful joke. Okay, that's it. Let's scroll all the way down. So, okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I'll get a terminal that pops up, won't I? Okay, I did get a terminal, guys. Instead of this terminal, one of you guys said me to go to my terminal, like right here, and type something like /main.exe. Now I can access it here, so it says enter a product name to search. I'll go with something like clothing. Okay, this does not exist. Did I spell something wrong? Okay, maybe I'll go with something like shirt. Okay, shirt's product name is shirt, price 60, size 12, material silk. Okay, honestly, why does it show like everything? Okay, let's scroll all the way up here where I go with the material. Okay, material is silk, so I'll go with a space here. There we go. Okay, warranty, expiry date, November 5th. Okay, what if I go with something like pizza? Oh, I like it too. I like HTML. Honestly, I haven't like learned HTML. That's what I should actually like find it. Yeah, Python is such a good language. I also like it. Actually, it is pretty fun. Okay, love my sub. I appreciate it, Juma. Okay, I love everything like you, so I want to make my deals. So I want to make my details 3x1 though. Oh, I see. Okay, next up. Why does it show every single thing? I want to show like just one thing, like one product. I think it shows everything because I do use a for loop. So instead of going with like a for loop, I honestly might just go with something like, let's go ahead and remove my for loop real quick. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. Okay, instead of going with a for loop, I'll go with something like at index of 0. And then I'm gonna go ahead and copy that at index of 0, delete everything from here. Okay, and then paste it here. This is gonna be at index of 1. And lastly, I'm going to delete the for loop from here as well. Paste it. That's going to be at index of 2. Now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, run C++ file. Should I go with something like that? Okay, I think I got an error. What up, guys? Let me go ahead. Huh, guys, did I mess something up real quick? Okay, let's go here, run C++ file. Okay, I think I shouldn't have gone with that, guys. Did I mess something up? Okay, show and run commands. I want to show and run commands. Cursor at top, at bottom. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this part. Maybe go to my terminal. Okay, what does kill terminal do? If I were to run the code. Okay, guys, why do I keep getting this? I used to like never get it. Oh, I'm fourth love. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this part. I'll go with something like ./main.executable. Now if I were to go with something like shirt, it gives me only my shirt's price. What if I go with something like pizza? It gives me my pizza's price. What if I go with something like S22? It gives me my... Okay, wait. It's S22. There we go. It gives me my S22's price. If I hit exit, it exits the whole code. Okay. Enter a product to exit. Okay, perfect. Although weren't my destructors like used at all? That's it. Let's go with the controller. Control C using Sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, let's even open my OBS to check where do I actually keep this. Okay, I think that should be good, and then maybe I extend it a little from here. Okay, and a bit from top. There we go. Okay, so maybe I shrink it. Alright, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Okay, your voice reminds me of Omi YTL. Guys, honestly, I haven't like heard of that. That said, this dude is always on live. Nice dedication. I appreciate you. 22nd generation General 82. Guys, I'm actually reading the comments on my phone right now, so it's like way too tiny for me to see. Okay, this is very good. I appreciate you. Emoy Music. Which laptop are you using? Honestly, I am like using a PC, although whatchamacallit, I did like actually get the PC today. That's why all my monitors are like scattered away. Before I used to use like a mini PC. Let me actually show that to you guys because like I might not use it again. That said, this used to be the PC that I used to use like before. That said, I did move on to like a much bigger step. I did like record a video of me actually building my whole PC. I will definitely upload that on my channel. That said, DeepSeek is a kind of AI keeps helping me. Honestly, I did like use DeepSeek. DeepSeek does seem pretty fun as well. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and go all the way down, go with Shift Enter and say something like Sensei. I feel like the code is correct, although my destructors didn't run. And also, what was the second thing, guys? Let me think real quick. Okay, the second thing was like I always need to type /main.exe in my terminal, or let's say a separate window pops up okay when I run the command . Is there a way to fix that? Say question mark. Okay, let's see. Love it. Even sending hearts. I appreciate you, Joa. That actually means the world to me. Okay, Gork is really good and help read error messages and debug. Oh, I see. Okay, good work, people, but you messed up a crucial detail in your electronics class, and that's why your destructors never even got their final battle cry. Is it because I didn't add a destructor for my products class? Could be, honestly. Let's read the whole thing. So, okay, let's get some tape back here, guys. I shouldn't have moved it. Okay, let's go somewhere there. Okay, now I go ahead and extend this all the way here. There we go. Okay, firstly, the destructor not triggering. You forgot to make the base class destructor virtual. I forgot to do that. Okay, when you delete derived class objects through a base class pointer, the base class destructor must be declared virtual. Otherwise, only the base class destructor runs, skipping the derived class destructor. So in your product class, okay, change this line product standard console output to virtual, a virtual tilde product destructor. Reason: virtual ensures runtime polymorphism for destructors. C++ checks the actual type of object being destroyed, not just the pointer type. The window popping up, that's a Visual Studio /code runner issue, not your code. Here's how to fix it. Go to settings, control comma, search for code runner in the terminal. check in the terminal. Now your program runs inside your terminal instead of separately. Guys, didn't I install Code Runner? Option to run manually instead of clicking run code, open integrated terminal and type g++/main. That way it stays in our current terminal. Minor fix. What up, guys? I might try that real quick. Okay, oh, I forgot I was eating cooked meat, guys. Actually, I feel like I'm starving, although I just ate. Okay, but still, I love it. Actually, guys, I feel like I prefer eating meats as well. It like tastes pretty good. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and go to my settings. I should hit Control, comma. Okay, and then let's see. So it says go to settings, search for Code Runner in terminal. So I'll go with something like Code Runner. Code Runner, there we go. Okay, weather previous code, let me select that. Does that fix everything? Code Runner custom command. Check run in terminal. Okay, run in terminal. Guys, is run in terminal somewhere here? Run as command. There we go, run in terminal. Okay. Wait, does that fix everything? Clear previous outputs, whether to clear previous outputs before each run. Okay, save all files before running. I could do that. Save file before run. Okay, whether to save the current file before running. Okay, if I like select this, I might not have to whatchamacallit, hit Control S every time. That said, the moment of truth, guys, if I run the command, I get an error. It says Visual Studio Code. Okay, the terminal process failed to launch. Exit code -1 terminal will be reused by task. Press any key to close it. Any key. What if I hit something like D? Okay, it closes it. Launch program, guys. Why can't I run anything? C++ directory main.exe does not exist. Guys, I'm pretty sure it does exist. I see my directory right now. It's like, why did it change to VS Code? Guys, I'm pretty sure like this is like this was my file. It was called like, okay, now it's called VS Code for some reason. Okay, let's delete that. Okay, and maybe I go ahead and cancel that, delete that. Maybe I go here. Let's see. So there's C++ directory. Let's go all the way here. Maybe I create another C++ directory. Let's restart that. Let's go ahead and move to recycle bin, and then I'm gonna go ahead and create a new file. This is going to be called something like main.cpp. That's C++. Okay, it says select a language. This is going to be C++. Okay, now if I were to close it and open my C++ directory, I do see a main folder. Okay, let's write a quick code real quick. I'm going to go ahead and paste this because I'm so glad I copied that code. Okay, now if I hit Control S, will it work without Control S though? Guys, why does this terminal keep appearing? Guys, I actually need to figure this out real quick. Okay, maybe I try that like off stream, I guess. Wait, if I cancel it, then it comes here, entry product. Maybe I go with something like shirt. I think it does work, guys. Okay, I think it works. Okay, let's get Sensei/ChatGPT back here real quick. Alright guys, I think it works. Let me get, say, all the way here. Maybe open my OBS to check where do I keep this. There we go. Okay, let's extend it from here. And then go all the way up. Whoops. Go all the way up. Okay, actually I'll just go all the way down. Okay, I think that covers the whole screen. That's it. Let me say something like, say, I think that I'm ready for the next question! Exclamation. Okay, let's see guys. I think I'm actually ready for the next question. Alright people, listen. Let's level up this time. Every time you... Okay, let's level up this time. We're gonna make your shopping system more advanced. Inheritance and overriding dynamic memory new/delete. What up guys, let me actually say something what I want to actually do. Let me say something like, let's say, maybe a question that includes, I don't know, maybe something like vectors, arrays, new/ delete overriding classes. What else, guys? Let's think. I might need while loops as well, so I'll go with something like while loops, while loops, for loops, maybe even protected, public, private, constructors, destructors. Okay, in one question, maybe in one question, maybe question mark. Guys, I feel this should be fun. This has everything. Vitamin, protein, yum. Honestly, that does make a lot of sense. I'm big fan. I appreciate you, Pixels. Yeah, in fact, you, bro. I appreciate you, Drew, as well. You guys actually mean the world to me, guys. That said, oh, people, you want a beast mode question? I see. Alright, let's craft a monster that hits everything. So, task, fantasy, RPG, inventory, and shopping system requires everything in one. Classes and inheritance. So, I gotta create a base class called product with a protected name data member, which is a string, and a double value data member, which is a value, and then a virtual display info method and a virtual destructor as well. Then I gotta create a few derived classes called weapon, potion, and armor. Each adds up a unique property: damage for weapon, healing amount for potion, and defense for armor. I gotta override my display infos method and then dynamically allocate memory and array slash vector, store them in a vector of base class pointers, item, player inventories, an array of pointers. Okay, fixed size, example 5, use new when buying items, delete when clearing inventory. Then I gotta use loops and user input. While loops, show shop menu, let user buy items by typing names. For loops, display all items in shop and inventory, constructors and destructors. Each class should print a message when constructed and destructed. Access modifiers, name and values protected. Unique properties, public, display functions. Okay, public. Checkout slash inventory display after the player types exit. Okay, display all inventory items and details, total value of inventory. This will force you to use protected, private, public, constructor, destructor, vectors, arrays, pointers, new slash delete, loops, and overriding. Okay, that was actually a lot, guys. Let's get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. Okay, that's it. Let's go all the way up to the first instruction. There we go. Okay, now let me go ahead and start off by going with Control A, deleting everything. Okay, I'm a pro, bro. Honestly, that does sound pretty cool. Okay. Oh, what are you? What words make you number one? Number one, honestly, in chat, I think the more we chat, the the more messages we have, the higher the ranking, I think, guys. Okay, that said, let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream, and honestly, since I am going to be working with vectors as well, let's go ahead and include vectors as well. So I'm going to go with something like vector, and then let's see, by don't put me to 50 plus. Oh, I see. Honestly, I do appreciate you sticking through the stream, Drew. Wow, catch you next stream. Okay, that said, let me start off by creating a base class called something like item. With a pair of curly braces, my item class is going to be having two protected data members. So I'm going to go with something like protected. Okay, the first data member is going to be a standard string of name, and the second data member is going to be, let's say, a double. Oops, there we go. Okay, the next data member is going to be a double of something like value ending with a semicolon. Okay, excuse me, guys, and then let's go ahead and publicize everything. Excuse me again, guys. That said, let me go ahead and add a constructor. So I'll go with something like a constructor. I'm going to be creating a constructor for my items class with a pair of parentheses. My items class is going to be requiring two parameters. The first is going to be a standard string of name. The second is going to be something like a double of value. Okay, so these are the two constructors. And now I'll go with a pair of curly braces. And let's go ahead and initialize my data members. So I'll go with something like this name data member. Okay, equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon. And then something like this value data member equals to my value parameter as well, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. And then let's go ahead and create a destructor as well. Okay, I'm going to be creating a virtual destructor. Let's add a comment that says something like destructor. For my destructor, I'll go with something like a virtual keyword, so a virtual tilde of my items class. So I create a destructor, a virtual destructor for my items class that has a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like item destructor, item destructor activated. Okay, with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add methods now. So I'm going to add a comment that says something like methods. Now for my method, I'm going to be needing a virtual display info method. Okay, so let's go with something like a virtual method, a virtual void method called something like display info with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. What do you think about furries? Honestly, guys, I haven't honestly thought about those. Okay, guys, actually, I haven't thought about furries. That said, let's go ahead and create something. So I'm gonna go with a void class. This is gonna be having a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, that says something. So maybe I'm gonna display my item. So I might go with something like a name with another insertion operator of my name data member. And then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator of something like, let's go with something like, is it price? Okay, it's honestly value. So I'll go with something like value. Okay, with another insertion operator. This is going to be my value data member with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. That's honestly pretty much it for my methods. Okay, let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon now. And next up, I gotta create 3 derived classes. Okay, so let's go ahead and create my first derived class. This is gonna be called weapon. My weapon class does inherit all the public content, so I'm gonna inherit all the public content from my, let's say, items as class, and then I'm gonna add a pair of curly braces. Okay, next up, let me hydrate my lips real quick, guys. I feel it's too dehydrated. Okay, perfect. Alright, next up I'm gonna do something, so let's see. Each class adds up one unique property: damage for weapon, healing amount for potions, defense for armor. So I'm going to be adding, let's say, a private data member called something like weapon. I'm assuming damage is going to be something like integer. There we go. Okay, so integer of damage for my weapons class. Then I go ahead and publicize everything. Let's go ahead and add a constructor now. Okay, for my constructor, let's see. Let me go ahead and create a constructor for my weapons class. So I'm going to go with something like weapon, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Now, my weapons class is going to be having a few parameters, only 3 parameters. The first parameter is going to be a standard string of name. The second parameter is going to be, let me fix my typo real quick. The second parameter is going to be a double of, let's say, value. Okay, and the third parameter is going to be something like, okay, it's going to be integer of damage. Okay, and honestly, before I do go with a pair of curly braces, I must add a constructor for the class that I'm inheriting from. Since I am inheriting from my items class, I'll go ahead and create a constructor for my items class as well. Let's scroll all the way up. My items class requires 2 parameters, name and value. So I'm gonna add those here. So name and value. Okay, my name's value I get it from there, my value's value I get it from here. Okay. Next up, I'll add a pair of curly braces, and let's go ahead and initialize my damage data member. So I'll do something like this damage data member equals to my damage parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my constructor. Now let's go ahead and add a destructor. For my destructor, I'm going to be using the tilde, is how I pronounce it, the tilde operator, and my weapons is class. Is it called weapon or warrior? Okay, it's called weapon. Okay, weapons is class. I'll add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. This won't be a virtual destructor because I'm not a base class, I am a derived class. Okay, I'm gonna add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like weapon destructor activated. Okay, with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add another comment that says methods this time. Let's go ahead and add methods. So, okay, for my methods, I'm going to be creating a void method. Where do you learn these things? Honestly, I do learn this like using ChatGPT/Sensei by doing like questions and all that stuff. That's it. I do usually stream myself like learning C++. So like if you guys like watch the first ever stream, I did start like as a complete beginner. So if you guys are like actually beginners in C++, you guys could like watch my streams because like I do cover like almost everything that a beginner would cover. Like learn everything from the very basics, guys. Okay, that said, I feel like I phrased that kind of wrong. Okay, next up, let me go with something like methods. For my methods, I'm going to be, let's say, creating a void method called something like display info. Okay, and since the class that I'm inheriting from my items in class has a display info method, I'll add a pair of parentheses. Although before I do go with a pair of curly braces, I will use the override keyword, so I override my method. Okay, so it only prints or points towards this exact display info method from my exact class if it's pointed towards my weapons class. That's the a standard console output here with an insertion operator. This needs to display three things. So I need to display a name, a value, and a damage. So I'm going to go with something like a name. Okay, I'll go with something like name, add an insertion operator. This is going to be my name parameter. And then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. For, let's say, okay, next up I needed value, right? So I'll go with something like value with another insertion operator of my value data member. Okay, with another insertion operator of something like damage. So I'll go with something like damage. And then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator of my damage data member. Next up, with a / new line, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I'm going to end my class with a semicolon as well because I think this is pretty much it for my class. Okay, now I gotta create another class. Guys, where did the instructions go? There we go. Okay, let's scroll all the way up. Okay, so my next class is gonna be a potions class. So let's go ahead and create a class called potion. Okay, my potions class does inherit all the public content from my items class, and then I go with the pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my potions class, I'm going to be needing a private data member called heal amount. So let's go ahead and create a private data member. Okay, this is going to be something like heal amount. I'm assuming that should be an integer, so I'll go with something like integer of heal amount. There we go. Did I spell private correct? I think I spelled it wrong. There we go. Integer of heal amount ending with a semicolon. And then let's publicalize everything. Now, inside of my public, I'm going to be adding a comment that says something like constructor. So I'll go with something like a constructor. Okay, now for my constructor, I'll go ahead and create a constructor for my potion class, add a pair of parentheses. My constructor is going to be requiring of three parameters. The first parameter is going to be a standard string of name. The second parameter is going to be, let's say, a double of value. And lastly, my third parameter is going to be something like an integer of heal amount. Okay, and since I am inheriting from my items class, I will be adding a constructor for my item class as well. So I'll go with something like item, add a pair of parentheses. My items class require two parameters. The first is going to be name, the second is going to be a value. Okay, and then I go with a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my class, let's see, I'm going to be initializing my heal amount data member. So I'll do something like this heal amount data member equals to my heal amount parameter ending with a semicolon. And that's pretty much it for my constructor. Now let's go ahead and add another comment that says something like destructor. Okay, for my destructor, I'll maybe zoom in a little. There we go. I'll add a tilde operator and create a destructor for my potion class. So I'll go with something like my potion class is destructor with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. My destructor is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like potion destructor activated. There we go, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's go ahead and go in a new line, add another comment that says something like methods. For my methods, I'm going to be creating a method, a void method called something like, let's zoom in a bit, called display, let's say info. Okay, now I'll add a pair of parentheses. Although since the class that I'm inheriting from, which is my items class, has the exact same method of display info and it is virtual, I am going to be overriding it. So I'll use the override keyword because I override the content inside of my display info. So it only points towards this exact, whatchamacallit. I think I spelled it wrong. Let's go with something like display info. There we go. That looks correct. Okay, there we go. Okay, so only when my potions classes display info method is whatchamacallit invoked, my compiler won't be confused because I do override the content in now. So this is like a separate method. It's not like the same as the other display info methods. Guys, I feel like I phrased that awfully wrong. Are you a college student? CS from where? Honestly, I am like a freshman in college. That's it. I haven't like taken any programming courses yet, guys. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and add a standard console output here with an insertion operator that displays something like a name with an insertion operator. This is going to be my name parameter or my name data member. Okay, let's go in a new line, add another insertion operator of something like, I don't know, maybe value. So, okay, I'm going to go with something like a space pipeline value. Okay, for my value. So, I'll go with another insertion operator of my value data member. Okay, then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator for my, let's see, for my healing amount. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so I'll go with a pair of double quotes that's going to say something like healing count, healing amount, okay, with another insertion operator of my healing amount data member, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That's pretty much it for my potion class. So I'm going to go ahead and end my class with a semicolon as well. And then finally, I'm going to create I'm going to create another class called armor. So I'm going to create my final derived class called armor, which inherits all the public content, okay, from all the public content from my items class with a pair of curly braces. And honestly, guys, let me drink some coffee. I feel like I'm kind of thirsty. Pretty sure that's not how we chug coffees, but I was kind of thirsty, guys. Okay, that said, my armor class is going to be having a private data member called defense as well. So I'll go with something like private data member called something like integer of defense. Guys, there's something sharp here. Okay, guess I'll just get my legs down. Okay, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and publicalize everything. Now, inside of my publicized class, I'm going to be adding a constructor. So I'll go with something like constructor. Okay, now for my constructor, let's go ahead and create a constructor for my armor class. My armor class constructor is going to be requiring 3 parameters. Just spell it correct, armor, there we go. The first parameter is going to be a standard string of name. The second parameter is going to be a double of value. Lastly, the third parameter is going to be an integer of defense. There we go. And then since I am inheriting from my items class, I will be creating an object, a constructor for my items class as well. And I'll go with my items class with a pair of parentheses. My items class requires 2 parameters. The first is name and the second is value. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces and initialize my private data member of defense. So I'll go with something like my defense data member is going to be equal to my defense parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Next up, let's go ahead and add another comment and create a destructor. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a destructor now. So maybe I'll go with something like delta armor. Okay. With a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Now, my armor destructor is going to be having a standard console output with an insertion operator. That is going to say something. Let's see. I might go with something like armor. Okay, armor destructor activated. There we go. With a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's add another comment that says something like methods. Now, for my methods, I'm going to be creating a void method called display info as well. Display, and I think I'm spelling it wrong. There we go. And I'll add a pair of parentheses, although before I do go with a pair of curly braces, since the class that I'm inheriting from, or my items class has a display info method as well, I will use the override keyword so it doesn't confuse the compiler like when I call a display info method, that whose display info method am I calling? Am I calling the item class display info method, or like my method classes, or like my armor class display info method? Okay, then I go with the pair of curly braces. You can also initialize the defense member in the initializers list after the constructor. Oh, that actually, I did actually use initializers list. That's it. I feel like I prefer this way much better because like it feels fun to write also and like it looks better as well, I think. Although I did like have some practice with the initializers list as well. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna say something like name. I'll go with another insertion operator of my name data member. And then let's go with another insertion operator that says something like value. So I'm gonna go with something like a value. Okay, with another insertion operator of my value data member. With another insertion operator of, honestly, what was the next one? I think it was something like defense. So I'll go with something like defense. Okay, with another insertion operator of my defense data member. There we go. With a / new line ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my final class as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and end my class with a semicolon. Maybe like replace the semicolon there. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'm gonna go ahead and type integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Now inside of my main function, let's read the instructions. Excuse me, guys. Okay, derive classes. I did all those. Override display, dynamic memory, and array/vector. Store all items in a vector of base class of pointers. Okay, so I gotta store all my items in a vector this time. Unlike arrays, I have practiced with arrays, although I didn't like do much with vectors. That's it. I'm assuming I go with something like standard vector, a pair of angle brackets. I wanna store my items as class as vector here. I'll go with item with an dereferencing operator, okay, or an asterisk for like a pointer. This is gonna be called something like items, ending with a semicolon. There we go. I think that's correct, guys. And then I got a player inventory is an array of pointer fixed size like 5. Player inventory. From where did I get player inventory? Okay, I think player inventory is going to be the items that is like inside here. Store all items in a vector of base class pointers. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm honestly assuming instead of going with like a semicolon here, I'll go with something like equals to a pair of curly braces. And now I might zoom in a little and then let's see. I could go with something like my items or my items as class. Okay, with a pair of parentheses. I'll need 3 parameters for my first one. This is gonna be something like, should I name my class? Okay, honestly, maybe let's scroll all the way up. So I need a name value for my weapon, name value, and damage. Okay, so my weapon's name is going to be something like a scythe. Okay, value, scythe costs something like 80.99 or maybe something like 89 or 99.99, almost $100, guys. Okay, and my damage for my scythe is going to be something like 300 HP. And then I'll add a comma. Is that how it works? Or should I go with something like item? Okay, my item is a pointer. So instead, what if I like deleted that part and went with something like new for a memory address? Does that work? Okay, that almost worked. I still have a small little whatchamacallit, red underline here. Guys, am I like missing something here? I go with something like new item equals to scythe 999. Okay, is it because my parameters are wrong? The first parameter is a standard string, second is double, third is an integer. The name value. This damage equals to damage. Okay, how do I push stuff inside of my vector in that case? Should I use the push underscore back? Actually I could try that. Let me actually try that real quick. I'll go with something like my items as vector dot the push underscore back function. I want to push back this. Okay, this is going to be for my items as class. Item, add a pair of parentheses, delete that. Go ahead and add one here. Does that work? Okay, apparently it doesn't actually work. I went with my items as vector.pushback though, although this is my items as vector. Pushing back here wouldn't make any sense, honestly. Instead, let's go ahead and delete this part real quick. Okay, should I go with like an ampersand? I mean an ampersand, not an asterisk. There we go. Okay, it actually doesn't like work. Maybe I remove the dereferencing operator here. Okay, I think I might need it though. Let's go with Control Z. Let's see. So maybe I could like go with something like new. Okay, honestly, I might ask this part to Sensei real quick, so let me go with the controller. Control C, copy that, give Sensei slash chat GPT. Okay, and then let's get Sensei here. Maybe open my OBS as well to like check where I keep Sensei. There we go. And maybe I extend it a bit from here. Okay, so it's about that big. And then let's go and extend that from the bottom. Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and paste this, go with Shift Enter and say something like Sensei. I feel like I don't know how to create a pointer object as my vector. Okay, let's see. Use semicolon. Honestly, that does make sense. Wait. Even if I do use semicolon, I don't think that would like make a difference because like I see it red underline here, and like I use semicolon when ending my entire code, because like since this is a vector, semicolon inside wouldn't make sense. I'll have to use it like outside here. Okay, that still like has a small error there. Okay, that's let's get Sensei back here. Okay, people, I see what you did there. Look at this standard vector. This is wrong. Problem 1, the item constructor only takes 2 parameters, name and value, but you gave it 3. Does the item constructor takes 2 parameters? That extra 300 you probably meant for damage, which is only for weapons. Oh, guys, I'm so stupid. Hold up, guys. Okay, that was so self-explanatory. You forgot to use semicolon, remove the middle bracket. Okay, no, never mind, guys. I feel like I messed up. This was like, guys, I feel this is the oldest things in the book. How is it going to be correct? I invoked the wrong class, apparently, guys. My bad. Okay, that makes sense. I was going with the weapons class. I don't know why did I type the item. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and add a comma here and create another new. So I'll go with something like a new. For my potions class, this time my potions class says constructor requires 3 parameters, name, value, and healing amount. So I might go with something like a healing potion. Okay, healing potion costs something like $19.99, and healing potion heals 100 HP. Okay, and then I'm going to add a comma as well and create another class, or actually another object for my, let's say, armor class. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I know what all parameters it requires. My armor parameter requires a name. This is going to be called something like armor. Okay, and then let's say something like my armor costs something like maybe $299.99, $300. Okay, and my armor has, let's say, 250 defense. This is the really good armor, guys, on stock. Okay, that said, let's read the instructions next. Let's go all the way up. Okay. So there we go. So store all items in a vector. Did that. Player inventory is an array of item pointers. So maybe I go in a new line here. Wait, hold up, guys. Let me go ahead and delete that. Add a semicolon here. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to be creating, let's say, a vector called player inventory. It's an array of item pointers. Item pointers. Is it my item classes pointers or my item objects as pointers? Okay, so it says player inventory is an array of item pointers. I think it's saying my items as classes pointers, so I might go with something like, okay, I'll go with my item class. Item with an asterisk, okay, is going to be having an object called something like player inventory. Okay, with a pair of parentheses, my inventory consists of a fixed amount of items, which is something like 5, ending with a semicolon. Now let's go ahead and fill in the stock. So I'll do something like my player inventory at index of 0 equals to, let's go with something like my items is vector at index of 1, items at index of 0. My bad, guys. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go with something like my player inventory at index of 1 equals to my items at index of 0 as well again. And then I'll go with something like my player inventory at index of 2 equals to, let's say, my items at index of 1, which is the second element inside of my items is vector. And then I'll go with something like my player inventory at index of 3, the fourth element inside of my array, is going to be equal to items at index of 2, the third element inside of my vector. Lastly, I'll go with something like my player inventory at index of 4, the fourth element of my array, equals to, let's say, items at index of 3, the third element of my vector, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, why do they have to be pointers, not just stack allocated? Honestly, because I feel like I'm like, whatchamacallit, working on a specific topic related question. That said, I haven't like heard of stack allocated. I have like heard of these stack because like I have like a brief knowledge on what stack and heap means. Basically, everything is stored in our stack unless we actually explicitly want to store something in our heap memory and we use the new keyword. Okay, that's it. Okay. Next up, player inventories in array. Did that use new when buying items and delete when clearing inventory? Okay, loops and user input. While loop shop menu, let the user buy items. Let the user buy items by typing names. For loops, display all items in shop. Okay, loop. Display all items in the shop with using the for loop. Let users buy item by typing names. Okay, buy items by typing names. While loop shop menu. Okay, show shop menu using a while loop. Okay, let's use a for loop. What is this? Honestly, I am like learning the basics of C++. Today I'm covering function overriding. That said, my title and thumbnail does say whatchamacallit, operator overriding, or like, yeah, operator overriding. That said, when I started the stream, I realized nothing like that exists, guys. I didn't have time to like research on a specific topic because whatchamacallit, I was real busy building my PC and even doing some of my college work. That said, I'm going to be, let's say, creating a for loop. So I'll go with the index-based for loop. So for every integer of I, which equals to 0, while my I is, let's say, less than, okay, the question is, what am I iterating over? So it says, I think I'm iterating over my array. Actually, arrays players is inventory. I'm iterating over my vector. For every integer of I, which equals to my items dot size, my vectors is size, I'm going to increment my I by 1. So I'll go with something like I++. And then I'll add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my index-based for loop, I'm going to do something. Let's go ahead and change that to a semicolon. Okay, let's see. I'm going to do something. So I'm going to go with something like, let's say, a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, this is going to say something. This is going to say something like items. Items on stock. Maybe I go with like 3 hyphens. Actually, let's add this outside my for loop real quick. Okay, so above my for loop, I'm going to go ahead and add a standard console output. Let's go with lowercase standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like maybe 4 hyphens, items on stock. Okay, with 4 more hyphens with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Operator overloading isn't just very important but fun thing to learn. Honestly, I did like go over operator overloading. Do you have exams? Honestly, I do have like an exam next week. That's that, guys. I haven't like prepared for that whatsoever. Okay, let's go ahead and end this with a semicolon as well. There we go. And yeah, I did actually work with operator, which we call it overloading. That's it. I thought there was like something called operator overriding as well. Apparently not, guys. Okay, useful for custom math types like vectors and so on. That actually does make so much sense. Okay, that's it. Inside of my for loop, I'm going to go with something like my items is vector at index of I with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, okay, honestly, I'll just go with like items at index of I. Should I go with something like display? Okay, maybe I could like point towards my display method. So I could go with something like with the arrow mark operator of display info with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. and then I'll go with a standard console. Should I go with a standard console output? I think I should. I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator of, let's say, a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, there we go. Next up, let's see. So I gotta use a while loop. So I display all the items, use loop to display all items, use a while loop to show shop menu, let the user buy items by typing names. Okay, now I'll add a while loop. So I'll go with something like while true. So I'll go with a while true loop, add a pair of parentheses. Now, inside of my while true loop, I'm going to be creating a standard string variable, which is going to be called something like ask, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I'm going to go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a item that you want to purchase. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and end that with a semicolon. And let's get the value of my ask now. So I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator that extracts my ask variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, now I'll add a bunch of if statements. So I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Maybe should I go with some cases? Like, should I use match case, guys? Okay, by the way, you can do for auto item for each loop. Honestly, that does make sense. Honestly, I haven't been using auto that much. That's it. I should actually use auto. Have you learned about smart pointers yet? Honestly, no. I do have that topic in my in my roadmap. I might actually go over that real soon, guys. Okay, that said, so let's go with something like if my ask. Should I go with cases? It's been a while since I learned about match case, so I could do something like match or maybe case. Is that how we use match case? So case for let's say ask, ending with a semicolon, and then I go with something like match. Guys, I think I'm doing match case wrong. For every item, asterisk, item and item. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. I did use a for loop. It's for every integer of, for example, item in my vector, which is like a colon vector of items. Okay, it's switch. Oh yeah, guys, my bad. I'm used to Python. That said, switch. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is the context: switch, expression, case, constant, expression, colon, break. Oh, okay, guys, I think I got it. Okay, let's go with something like switch. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a pair of parentheses. My expression is gonna be my ask, ending with a semicolon, right? Whatever, guys. Let me go with a bunch of control Z's real quick. Okay, let's go with my expression. This is gonna be ask. Why do I get a red underline here? But you can't use switch for non-integer types, I don't think. Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Guys, I thought I wanted to do something cool right now. Never mind. I think I can try switch later in that case. That's it. I think I'll go with the basic if-else if. So I'll do something like if. How did you learn how to do this? Honestly, I did learn using Sensei/ChatGPT. That said, let's go with something like if my ask variable is equal to, let's say something like, what all types do I have? So I have, okay, so I have weapon, potion, and armor. So I have weapon, potion, and armor. If my ask equals to weapon, then I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then add something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, try switch, I'm not sure. Honestly, I do need to work on the basics of switches because I think it's been 30 days since I learned switches or something, because I had a stream on that. I just had one stream on switches. That said, standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, instead of going with a standard console output, I am going to be using a for loop, or instead I'll go with something like my items is vector, items at index of 0. Okay, which is going to be pointing towards my display item with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon, because my items at index of 0 is sight, index of 1 is healing, and index of 2 is armor. Okay, where are you from? Honestly, I used to actually, say that a lot, but many of you guys did say me to avoid saying where I'm from, so I do try avoid saying that these times, guys. Okay, never mind. It can actually. Oh, I see. Okay, that said, Next up, let me go ahead and do something else. So I'll go with something like an else if now. Okay, so I'll go with something like else if, add a pair of parentheses, else if my ask equals to, let's go with something like potion. Then I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then go with something like my items at index of 2, which is going to be pointing towards my display info with a pair of parentheses. That is for my potion. And then I'll go with another else if, so I'll go with something like else if, a pair of parentheses. Okay, if my ask variable is equal to shield this time or armor. Okay, if my this equals to armor, if my ask equals to armor, I'm gonna display my items as vector at index of 3 is display info method ending with a semicolon. Howdy Ibrahim, I appreciate you joining this stream. Where are you from? Honestly, I used to actually answer a lot. That's what I did like avoid saying that because like many of you guys did say me to like avoid saying that, guys. Okay, that's said. Let's see. Next up, I'll go with another else if, a pair of parentheses, my ask equals to exit. Then I'm gonna do something. Whoops. Let's go with something like exit. Okay, I'll go with a pair of curly braces that says something like, actually that breaks my while loop ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'll go with something like an else clause. I'll add a pair of curly braces that has a standard, console output with an insertion operator that says something like that item is not on stock with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Alright, next up, let's see what is something that I'm missing. Am I missing something? Okay, so for loop, constructor destructors added, each class should print a constructor destructor message, access modifiers, name, value, protected, have access modifiers, check / inventory, did that. Okay, after the player types exit, display all items in the inventory with details, total value of inventory. Okay, so now after my while loop exits, after my while loop ends, I'm going to be adding a index based for loop. So I'll go with something like for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is less than, display all inventory items. All inventory items. Okay, I could go with something like while my I is less than 5, which is my arrays vector, because my array is my inventory. I'm going to increment my by 1, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now, I'm going to do something like my player inventory at index of I. Okay, is going to display my item info. I'll add a pair of parentheses to invoke the function, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's see, go with something like player I display info. Okay, and then maybe I actually add a standard console output above my for loop as well. Okay, with an insertion operator. By the way, you technically have a memory leak as you aren't deleting, guys, it's so small, there we go. As you aren't deleting pointer variables, but it doesn't matter since the OS does it for you. And the items live in duration of the program, just stack allocating or using smart pointers like standard unique PTR solves it or just deletes it. That actually makes so much sense, guys. I should actually try that stuff. Okay, that said, I'll go with something like maybe 3 hyphens, your inventory, there we go, with 3 more hyphens. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then I display my items here. Now I'll add another for loop to like delete everything. So I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every integer of I which equals to 0, while my is less than 5, my vectors or my arrays size, I'm going to increment my by 1 and then go with a pair of curly braces. And then let's use my delete keyword because I did like use a new keyword, so I gotta end it with a delete. This is going to delete my player inventory at index of I ending with a semicolon. Okay, so let's scroll all the way up. What is new? So my arrays is up, my items is new, not my... Okay, so my array has the new, so I gotta end my array, not my player inventory. So instead of going with size, I'll go with something like my items is vector, not the size function. Okay, pair of parentheses to invoke that function. This is going to be my items at index of I. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. Use delete with a pair of square brackets, player inventory. Honestly, yeah, because that is like my player inventory is like an array. That's it, guys. I feel like I did something wrong there because I need to remove stuff from my vector, not my array. That's it. If I read control has to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. I hope it runs in my terminal, guys. Okay, why do I like keep getting the stuff here? Like I like keep getting it here. That's it. Let me go ahead and remove that. Now it displays here. I mean, guys, just for looks, I might remove the / new line from here. When I scroll all the way down here, okay, items on stock. Let me remove this line. Okay, now if I hit Control S again and run the code, let's see what happens. Okay, this is going to say something like items on stock. These are the items on stock. Which item do you want to purchase? Let's say I want to purchase the weapon. Okay, name is site, value is 999, damage is 300. Enter item that you want to purchase. Maybe I want to purchase a armor. Okay, my armor costs something. The whole code ended, honestly. Okay, double free has UB. Oh, I see. Okay, that's there. Honestly, I think it works. Let's go with the controller control. See, there might be like a small error here, I think. That's it. Let's shrink ChatGPT real quick. So, get to say here. And then extend it a little. There we go. Okay, let me get my OBS to check like if it's covering the whole screen. There we go. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and paste this here. Go with Shift Enter and say something like this. Let's say, I feel like the code works perfectly, although ... when I run the command in my terminal, the code isn't infinite because let's see, why is the code not infinite? Let's think. Because it ends for some reason. Is it because I didn't set my compiler up properly, question mark? Guys, is it because I didn't set my compiler properly? Okay, people, I see the chaos in your inventory. Look carefully, player index of I. Problem, item only has 3 elements. I did had like 4 elements. Out of bound access, that's undefined. Oh, behavior. Sometimes your program will crash, sometimes it'll seem. Okay, this is not your compiler's fault. Your code is asking memory that does not exist. Duplicate first item. Okay. Okay, player inventory had index of 4. You don't have 4th item. Either add a new item to the items or leave it null PDR. I see. Then when you do this loop, what up, guys? Was there a technical error? How much do you make from YouTube? Guys, I actually don't make anything. Okay, that's sad. I do have 5 items inside of my vector here. I think it is my compiler, guys, because I don't think I like ran this properly. That said, let's get some say/ChatGPT here again. Honestly, guys, I feel like I do have like a lot of stuff to get done. So let me actually say something. Let's say something like, so let's say I feel like I understand ... although I am actually planning to end the stream, okay, because I do have a lot of college stuff and it's like 5 p.m. right now. So before I do end the stream, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers, question mark? Okay, let's see, guys, I should fix my typos. Listen up, viewers, your people here is working hard, pushing through C++ like a true warrior. Today we dive deep virtual function inheritance pointers, new/delete, and even built a mini RPG shop. Remember this, a coder who never breaks their code never learns the power of fixing it. Sarah Sensei, guys, I don't think that is made by Sarah Sensei. That said, go home, study, and keep building. College assignments won't complete themselves, but this time, okay, but this people will master C++ one step at a time. Head pats and kisses from my hardworking people, guys, that did not make me blush. Stream ends, but the grind never stops. See you next time. Okay, let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so basically that's pretty much it for the stream. That's it. I did want to stream longer. I did stream longer than yesterday because like the reason I did like extend my stream to like 2 hours and 49 minutes is because yesterday I just streamed like for 40 minutes because my PC was lagging. That said, I did actually build my new PC. I will be uploading that video like whatchamacallit once I'm done editing it. And that said, that did fix all my stream lags. So I did start multi-streaming on Cake. I don't know, for some reason I couldn't log in on my Twitch. I think like the Twitch servers are messed up or something. That said, I did start multi-streaming on Cake, YouTube, and YouTube vertically and horizontally. So if you guys haven't followed me on YouTube and maybe also Twitch, because I will probably figure Twitch by tonight. That's it. If you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. The link is in the description. You guys can get access to the link by tapping exclamation and my socials' name as well. That's it. Also join the Discord server. You guys can get access to the Discord server by tapping exclamation Discord as well. That's it. Help, don't go. Wait, sir. Honestly, oh wait, guys, I had a lot of chats. Wait, I didn't read. What up, guys? Give me a sec. Let me read the chats. Okay, your item vector has 3 items. Why do you stream coding, man? Honestly, I like when I did start, I thought it'd be a pretty fun series. Like if I stream myself actually programming and like going over like a series, where my goal by the end of this series is to make a game in general which consists of AI logic in it. Actually, not this series, like programming for 250 series. This is like indented inside of that series. Can you introduce LeetCode to me? Honestly, I was actually planning to like make a separate playlist on like LeetCode once I'm done with this series, so I'm pretty excited for that, honestly. Okay, personification of ChatGPT. Guys, I feel like ChatGPT doesn't say as a whole persona. Okay, so why do you stream coding? Honestly, just for like these series, because I feel it's pretty fun. That said, I'm also thinking to start streaming coding. Good luck with that fact. Okay guys, I feel like that's pretty much it for the stream. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace!